Chapter 594. Of course, although everyone despised Fong Peng in their hearts, they did not dare to say it out loud. After all, Mo Qingyun's strength was obvious to everyone. It was understandable for him to participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. I will not disappoint sect leader. Hearing Fong Peng's arrangement, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and immediately bowed to Fong Peng in thanks. With Mo Qingyun's intelligence, he naturally understood that Fong Peng was using punishment as an excuse to reward him. Yes, Fong Peng revealed a smile of praise as he nodded to Mo Qingyun, and then he said to the surrounding people in a deep voice, due to some unforeseen events that occurred during the talisman competition this year's talisman competition has come to an end. If there's nothing else, then everyone could disperse. I will take my leave. Hearing Fong Peng's words, the surrounding disciples responded and walked out of the talisman battlefield. Zhilan, Mo Qing, the two of you come here. After instructing everyone to leave, Fong Peng smiled and waved at Mo Qing and He Zhilan. Seeing Fong Peng's action, Mo Qing and He Zhilan did not dare to hesitate and immediately walked towards Fong Peng. Mo Qing greets sect leader and various elders. Zhilan greets master and various elders. As Mo Qing and He Zhilan approached, they revealed a respectful expression as they bowed towards Fong Peng and the other elders. No need for formalities. Seeing Mo Qing and Zhilan's actions, Fong Peng smiled faintly and waved his hand. He pointed to Mo Qingyun and said, Mo Qing, Zhilan, in 3 days, the two of you will follow Qingyun to Myriad World Mountain to participate in the Myriad World Immortal Talisman Gathering. Then, Fong Peng gave some simple instructions to Mo Qingyun and walked towards the various elders. Junior Mo, in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, you have to protect senior sister well. Seeing Fong Peng walk to the side, He Zhilan gave a seductive look and smiled sweetly at Mo Qingyun. Seeing He Zhilan's expression, Mo Qing's expression immediately went blank, as if He Zhilan had hooked his soul away. Even a man like Mo Qing was unable to resist He Zhilan's charms. One could see just how alluring this woman was. What a seductress! Looking at He Zhilan in front of him, Mo Qingyun instinctively sighed in his heart. He could not help but admire He Zhilan's great charm. Junior brother Mo, junior sister, he is right. Please take care of us in the Myriad Talisman's immortal path. After Mo Qingyun regained his senses, he revealed a simple and honest smile and joked with Mo Qingyun. Everyone is participating in the 10,000 Talisman's immortal path together. There's no need to talk about taking care of each other. We just need to work together to get a good ranking. With regards to Mo Qingyun and Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and replied, Junior brother Mo, this 10,000 Talisman's immortal gathering is extraordinary. I feel that the three of us need to have a proper discussion. He Zhilan's eyes secretly shot flirtatious glances at Mo Qingyun as she smiled sweetly. Her appearance was indescribably alluring. Upon hearing He Zhilan's words, Mo Qing's expression was solemn as he nodded his head. Then, he spoke to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice. Junior brother Mo, junior sister, his words are true. Many monsters will appear in every 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. We indeed need to plan properly. Hearing the duo's words, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before nodding his head and said, Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble senior brother Mo and senior sister Zhilan to tell me about the 10,000 Talisman's Immortal Gathering. Seeing that Mo Qingyun agreed with her suggestion, He Zhilan smiled sweetly and invited the duo, Senior brother Mo, Junior brother Mo, I've been brewing some 100-flower honey wine recently. Why don't you come over to my place, and we can chat while drinking? Junior sister He's suggestion is not bad. Junior brother Mo, what do you think? Hearing He Zhilan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed and revealed a look of anticipation. He said to Mo Qingyun, Junior brother Mo, the 100-flower honey wine brewed by junior sister, he is a rare wine. Under normal circumstances, one would not even have the chance to drink it. Senior brother Mo, from what you're saying, It's as if I'm very stingy. Hearing Mo Qing's words, He Zhilan pretended to be unhappy and glared at Mo Qing coquettishly. Seeing He Zhilan's actions, Mo Qing was speechless for a moment and laughed awkwardly. Seeing the duo's actions, Mo Qing Yun shook his head and smiled at He Zhilan. If that's the case, I'll have to disturb senior sister Zhilan. At this moment, just as Mo Qing Yun and the rest were talking, Fong Peng walked towards the three of them. Arriving in front of Mo Qing Yun and the rest, Fong Peng revealed a solemn expression and said to Mo Qing Yun in a deep voice, Qing Yun, regarding what happened in the talisman battlefield just now, I've already passed down the order. No one is allowed to reveal any information about the demonic beast that you possess. Thank you, sect leader. Hearing Fong Peng's words, Mo Qing Yun immediately revealed a grateful expression and thanked Fong Peng. Mo Qing Yun was very clear about Fong Peng's intention. He was worried that the information about the demonic beasts would be leaked and bring him some potential trouble. After all, a person possessing over 10,000 Heaven Star Realm demonic beasts was a little too shocking and could easily attract the attention of some people with ulterior motives. No need for formalities. With regard to Mo Qing Yun's gratitude, Fong Peng waved his hand with a smile and said, I still have some matters to attend to, so I won't chat with you anymore. As Fong Peng's words fell, he immediately turned around and walked towards the Supreme Elder and the rest. Farewell, sect leader. Farewell, master. Seeing Fong Peng turn around and leave, Mo Qing Yun and the rest bowed slightly and paid their respects to Fong Peng. Junior brother Mo, let's go. After sending Fong Peng off, He Zhilan smiled sweetly and invited Mo Qing Yun and the other two. Yes. Hearing He Zhilan's words, Mo Qing Yun nodded with a smile and left with He Zhilan and the other two. At this moment, when Mo Qing Yun and the other two were leaving, at the side, Fong Peng and the rest were smiling as they looked at Mo Qing Yun and the other two. Sect leader, look at how compatible Zhilan and Qing Yun are. They are really a match made in heaven. Looking at Mo Qing Yun's group of three gradually walking away, one of the elders revealed a faint smile as he exclaimed in admiration. At this moment, just as the elder finished speaking, another elder immediately said, if Qing Yun and Zhilan are together, it will be a joyous occasion for our Mao Fu sect. This is a matter for the young people. Us old fellows shouldn't get involved. Hearing the words of the elders beside him, Fong Peng immediately grinned, and a look of anticipation appeared in his eyes. It seemed like he was also looking forward to the marriage between Mo Qing Yun and He Zhilan. After all, once Mo Qing Yun married He Zhilan, his heart would be even more attached to the Mao Fu sect. To the Mao Fu sect, this was indeed a rare piece of good news. Mo Qing Yun didn't know what Fong Peng and the rest were thinking. Otherwise, his expression would be more interesting. Chapter 595. At this moment, when Mo Qing Yun and the other two left the talisman battlefield, on Zhang Yun's delicate face, there was a faint trace of bitterness as she looked at Mo Qing Yun's back with hidden bitterness. Junior brother Mo is also a big pervert. His soul was stolen the moment he saw He Zhilan. Zhang Yun's mouth slightly pouted, revealing a faint trace of shame and anger as she silently said a sentence of displeasure. What? Is our junior sister Zhang Yun jealous? Seeing Zhang Yun's expression, Li Jing immediately covered her mouth and laughed, teasing Zhang Yun. Of course not. Hearing Li Jing's words, Zhang Yun's pretty face immediately turned red, revealing a shy expression as she said, It's just that He Zhilan is too bad. I'm worried that junior brother Mo will be taken advantage of. Junior brother Mo will be taken advantage of? Hearing Zhang Yun's excuse, Li Jing's expression immediately became strange as she giggled. I think it's junior brother Mo who is too happy to think of home. Junior sister Zhang Yun, why don't you tell junior brother Mo to keep some distance from He Zhilan, so as to prevent sparks from flying? When that time comes, junior brother Mo will be taken advantage of. Senior sister Li Jing, you're so annoying. Hearing Li Jing's words, Zhang Yun's pretty face immediately turned crimson red as she shyly covered her face and left the talisman battlefield. A moment later, Emo Qingyun followed behind Hejilan and arrived at her little courtyard. As soon as he walked into Hejilan's small courtyard, Emo Qingyun saw a field of colorful flowers that emitted a fragrance that seeped into one's heart. Junior brother Emo, senior brother Emo, please sit here. Hejilan brought Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun into a little pavilion and pointed at the stone bench in the pavilion. Hearing this, Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun sat down on the stone bench. Wait here for a moment. I'll go get the 100-flower honey wine. After inviting Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun to sit down, Hejilan smiled sweetly and walked out of the little pavilion. Following which, Emo Qingyun and Emo Qing waited in the pavilion for Hejilan to go get the 100-flower honey wine. After a while, Hejilan's graceful figure appeared in Emo Qingyun's line of sight. At this moment, there was an additional exquisite jade bottle in Hejilan's hand, which emitted a faint fragrance. This fragrance should be the fragrance of the 100-flower honey wine. Junior brother Emo, have a taste. Walking into the pavilion, Hejilan poured 100-flower honey wine into Emo Qingyun's and Emo Qingyun's wine cups. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun did not think too much about it. He raised his hand and picked up the wine cup in front of him and began to taste the 100-flowers honey wine. After taking a light sip of the 100-flower honey wine, Emo Qingyun immediately sensed the fragrance of the wine and flowers rushing into his head, making him feel relaxed and happy. After discovering this, Emo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised. He decided to ask Hejilan for some 100-flower honey wine to increase his spiritual strength. Junior apprentice brother Emo, junior apprentice sister, he's wine, is not bad, right? After seeing Emo Qingyun's expression, Emo Qingyun grinned and asked Emo Qingyun for his opinion. It's really not bad. I didn't expect this 100-flower honey wine to be able to increase my soul power. Emo Qingyun nodded when he heard this. A bright smile appeared on his face as he replied to Emo Qing. Increase soul power? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Emo Qingyun and Emo Qing were stunned. They were surprised by Emo Qingyun's words. Compared to Emo Qingyun's shock, Hejilan's shock after hearing Emo Qingyun's words was undoubtedly even more intense. This 100-flower honey wine was concocted by her. She didn't know how much she had drunk, but she didn't feel any improvement in her soul power. Now that Emo Qingyun had only drunk a mouthful, he said that his soul power had increased. This situation was too abnormal. Senior apprentice, Sister Jilan, I wonder if you have any extra 100-flower honey wine? At this moment, when Hejilan and Emo Qing were surprised, Emo Qingyun revealed a difficult expression. He smiled awkwardly and said, If you have extra, can you give me some a taste when I go back? Give me some a taste when I go back. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Emo Qing and Hejilan were stunned on the spot. Emo Qingyun was too direct. Even if this 100-flower honey wine was delicious, he couldn't ask for it so directly. After a short moment of depression, Emo Qing revealed a look of admiration. He gave Emo Qingyun a thumbs up and said, Junior apprentice brother Emo, senior apprentice brother is sincerely convinced by you. Your method of asking for wine is superb. From Emo Qing's point of view, Emo Qingyun's spiritual strength increase was just an excuse to ask for wine. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Emo Qingyun smiled awkwardly. He also knew that his words were a little rude. However, Emo Qingyun didn't explain Emo Qing's misinterpretation. How could this kind of thing be explained clearly? At this moment, when Emo Qingyun was feeling awkward, Emo Qing turned to Hejilan and smiled. Junior apprentice sister, I won't hide it from you. Actually, after drinking this 100-flower honey wine, I also feel that my soul power has increased by quite a bit. I wonder if I can ask for some back to drink. Cough. Hearing Emo Qing's words, Emo Qingyun was immediately speechless. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Emo Qing's actions. For the sake of drinking wine, Emo Qing really resorted to all kinds of tricks. You too. Hearing Emo Qingyun and Hejilan's words, Hejilan's face immediately revealed anger. She looked at Mo Qingyun and Hejilan and said, after a short moment of silence, Hejilan shyly glared at Mo Qingyun and Hejilan and pretended to be unhappy. There is only one jar of 100-flower honey wine left. Since junior apprentice brother Mo said that it can increase one's soul power, I will give it to junior apprentice brother Mo, junior apprentice sister He. You can't do this. I will also increase my soul power after drinking it. Hearing Hejilan's words, Mo Qing immediately revealed a bitter smile and said gloomily, Junior apprentice sister He, we have known each other for more than 20 years. We came together from Jiuping Valley to Maofu sect. You can't be so biased. Oh. Hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a shocked expression. He didn't expect that Mo Qing and Hejilan actually grew up together. Humph. I won't give it to you. Who asked me to not learn how to brew wine? Hee. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Hejilan's charming face turned ugly and she fiercely glared at Mo Qing. Then she smiled sweetly at Mo Qingyun and said, Junior apprentice brother Mo, since you like the wine that I brew, why don't you become my husband? In the future, I can brew wine for you every day. I also know how to brew many other flower wines. Hearing Hejilan's words, Mo Qingyun was immediately dumbfounded. He was truly shocked by Hejilan's words. Hejilan was tempting him to commit a crime. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. Mo Qing, who was standing to one side, instantly had the urge to vomit blood. He looked at Mo Qingyun with envy and gloomily said to Hejilan, Junior apprentice sister He, you and I have known each other for more than 20 years. You and junior apprentice brother Mo have only known each other for less than 15 minutes. Why is the gap between us so big? Chapter 596. Sigh. People still look at the face. Actually, I was quite handsome when I was young. Why did I become ugly later on? Hearing Hejilan's words, Mo Qing uttered out a gloomy sentence before he gave a simple and honest smile towards Hejilan. Junior sister He, I actually don't have any other requests. Just give me some wine to drink. Hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun and Hejilan immediately understood that the last sentence was Mo Qing's true thoughts. I have already promised to give the wine to junior brother Mo. If you want to drink, you can ask junior brother Mo for it. Hearing Mo Qing's words, Hejilan smiled slyly and turned to look at Mo Qingyun, secretly sending flirtatious glances. Hearing Hejilan's words, Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up. He immediately looked at Mo Qingyun and smiled faintly. Brother-in-law, next time when you have wine to drink, remember to leave some for me. Brother-in-law, brother-in-law. Hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun was instantly speechless. He looked at Mo Qing and did not know what to say. At this moment, Mo Qingyun suddenly realized that Mo Qing and Long Yutian were definitely comparable. If the two of them were to be together, they would definitely be a pair of good friends. You guys chat first. I will go and get the wine for junior brother Mo. After instructing Mo Qingyun and Hejilan, Hejilan smiled sweetly and walked out of the pavilion. Senior brother Mo, tell me about the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. Seeing that Hejilan had walked far away, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious, and he changed the topic. All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun ask about the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, Mo Qing's expression turned serious. He said to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice, Junior brother Mo, the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering is actually a test for the 10 great immortal sects to recruit disciples. It is also a good opportunity for the disciples of the various sects to become successful. Speaking of this, Mo Qing's expression turned serious. He paused and said, but the test of the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering is extremely cruel and dangerous. If you're not careful, you may stay in Myriad World Mountain forever. Oh, after hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he became even more curious about the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Association. Promptly, he asked, Senior Mo, please tell me more about the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Association. Yes. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Qingyun nodded his head and continued. Every 10,000 Talisman Immortal gathering has almost 10,000 sect participating, but only 1,000 people advance. You can see how cruel it is. Moreover, there are no restrictions on the assessment of the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. Therefore, there are many killings in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. There are no restrictions. Only 1,000 people can advance. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed as he instantly understood the cruelty of the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. Based on Mo Qingyun's understanding of the 10,000 Talisman's Immortal Gathering, each sect would send more than one disciple to participate. Even a small sect like the Mao Fu sect could send 3 disciples to participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. One could only imagine how powerful the other sects were. As such, with almost 10,000 sects participating in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, the number of participants would probably exceed 100,000. Only 1,000 people out of 100,000 people. One had to admit that the cruelty of the gathering was too great. While Mo Qingyun was sighing in his heart, Mo Qing's expression turned solemn as he said to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice, Junior Mo, after you participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, if you encounter a disciple of the 5 Absolute sect, you must not clash with them. The disciples of the 5 Absolute sect play the role of a butcher in every 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. A disciple of the 5 Absolute sect? Upon hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he looked at Mo Qing and asked, Mo Qing, may I know what is so special about the 5 Absolute sect? Junior Mo, the 5 Absolute sect isn't the name of a single sect. It's the collective name of 5 sections. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's puzzled words, Mo Qing's expression turned tense as he explained to Mo Qingyun, the 5 Absolute sects are the Tyrant Talisman sect, the Shadow Talisman sect, the Sword Talisman sect, the Saber Talisman sect, and the Elixir Talisman sect. These 5 sects are all 8 Seals sects, and each of them is extremely powerful. Their strength is only inferior to the 10 great sects in the Immortal Road. 8 Seals sects. Upon hearing that the 5 Absolute sects were all 8 Seals sects, Mo Qingyun's heart couldn't help but tremble. He was shocked by the strength of the 5 Absolute sects. If that was the case, wouldn't it mean that there were existences comparable to Supreme Being realm experts in the 5 Absolute sects? Upon discovering this, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression as he hurriedly asked Mo Qing, Senior Mo, may I know what is so special about the 5 Absolute sects? From Mo Qingyun's point of view, to be able to become an 8 Seals sect, they definitely possessed a powerful aura. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Qing fell silent for a moment before revealing a respectful expression as he said, the Sword Talisman sect and the Saber Talisman sect of the 5 Absolute sects are branches of the ancient era's Weapon Talisman sect. They specialize in refining various kinds of powerful weapons and talismans. In battle, their killing power is unparalleled. The Sword Talisman sect and the Saber Talisman sect are actually branches of the ancient era's Weapon Talisman sect. Upon hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed as an intense shock rose in his heart. He said to himself in surprise, if that's the case, what Elder Tan said before was true. He really is a member of the ancient era's Weapon Talisman sect. However, why was the Weapon Talisman sect destroyed? Upon thinking of this, Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with doubts as he was filled with curiosity about the Weapon Talisman sect's destruction. Following this, Mo Qingyun frowned as he vaguely thought of a possibility. He thought to himself, if that's the case, Elder Tan's sealing his cultivation might have something to do with the Sword Talisman sect and the Saber Talisman sect. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's grave expression and silence, Mo Qing revealed a puzzled expression as he asked Mo Qingyun, Junior brother Mo, what's wrong with you? Upon hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly as he waved his hand at him and said, "I'm fine. Senior brother Mo, please continue." All right. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Qing did not overthink it and continued to tell Mo Qingyun about the Five Absolute Sect. The Pill Talisman sect specializes in refining various kinds of talismans that can raise one's cultivation. They are also extremely difficult to deal with. Hence, when you fight with them, you cannot judge their cultivation based on their appearance. There's actually such a sect. Upon hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a trace of surprise as his curiosity about the Pill Talisman sect rose in his heart. To be able to refine talismans that could raise one's cultivation, this method was indeed incomparably powerful. Senior brother Mo, what are you guys talking about? At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Mo Qingyun were talking, He Zhilan revealed a charming smile as she slowly walked into the small pavilion. Junior apprentice brother Mo, this is the 100-flower honey wine. Upon entering the small pavilion, He Zhilan revealed a beautiful smile as she took out a dark green wine jar and handed it to Mo Qingyun. Thank you, senior sister Zhilan. Upon receiving the wine jar from He Zhilan, Mo Qingyun revealed a grateful expression as he thanked He Zhilan. You're still calling me senior sister. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's address of her, He Zhilan pretended to be unhappy as she rebuked Mo Qingyun. Chapter 597. Seeing Mo Qingyun's awkward expression, He Zhilan covered her mouth and laughed. She smiled at Mo Qing and said, Senior brother Mo, please continue. Junior brother Mo, you have to be especially careful of the disciples from the Shadow Talisman sect. Hearing He Zhilan's words, Mo Qing no longer hesitated as he nodded his head and continued. The Shadow Talisman sect specializes in drawing a type of Shadow Talisman. After this Shadow Talisman is activated, one can create a Shadow Doppelganger and launch a sneak attack during a fight, making it impossible for one to guard against. From the looks of it, the Five Absolute sect is indeed extraordinary. After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the Five Absolute sect. After sighing, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with curiosity. He hurriedly asked Mo Qing, Senior brother Mo, what special techniques does the Tyrant Talisman sect have? Hearing Mo Qingyun mention the Tyrant Talisman sect, not only did Mo Qing's expression turn solemn, even He Zhilan's expression turned solemn. From the looks of it, the Tyrant Talisman sect should be even more powerful. Otherwise, the two of them would not have such a reaction. The Tyrant Talisman sect is the strongest among the Five Absolute sect. After calming himself down, Mo Qing's expression turned solemn. He said to Mo Qingyun in a deep voice, they have a Tyrant Talisman. After activating it, one can enter a temporary Tyrant Talisman and ignore a portion of the opponent's attack. It is said that the strongest Tyrant Talisman can directly ignore the opponent's attack. Invincible. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, such a thought immediately appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. Under normal circumstances, when people of the same cultivation level fought, victory or defeat would be decided with a single thought. There was no room for any mistakes. However, the people from the Tyrant Talisman sect possessed such a heaven-defying talisman. They seemed to be invincible among those of the same cultivation level. Following this, Mo Qing and He Zhilan explained the situation of the Five Absolute sect to Mo Qingyun. At this moment, while Mo Qing was telling Mo Qingyun about the Five Absolute sect, a group of young men in golden talisman robes flew above the Mao Fu sect arrogantly and looked down arrogantly. Junior brother Tang Yang, let's take a rest in this Six Seal sect before heading to Myriad World Mountain. After arriving in the sky above the Mao Talisman sect, one of the youths instructed the brown-haired youth beside him. Yes, Senior Tang Yu. Hearing the young man's words, the brown-haired young man immediately showed a respectful expression and responded respectfully. Soon after, the youths slowly descended and flew into the Mao Talisman sect. At this moment, Fong Peng and the others in the main hall of the Thatched Talisman sect sensed the presence of these youths. Then, Fong Peng and the others' expressions turned serious as they quickly walked out of the great meeting hall. Before long, Fong Peng and the others arrived in front of Tang Yang and the others. Their expressions were grave as they asked, "May I know why you've come to my Mao Fu sect?" Hearing Fong Peng's words, the brown-haired youth, Tang Yang, pointed at Tang Yu beside him and said arrogantly, "This is the young sect master of the Broken Sword Talisman sect, Tang Yu. Quickly ask your sect master to come out and welcome us." Seven Seal Sect, Broken Sword Talisman sect. Hearing the youth's words, Fong Peng and the others' expressions immediately turned serious as they looked at the other party with reverence in their eyes. The Seven Seal Sect was a powerful sect with a Seven Seal Great Talisman Master overseeing it. It was not something the Mao Fu sect could compare to. Immediately after, Fong Peng showed a respectful expression and said to the few people in a deep voice, "I am the sect master of the Mao Fu sect, Fong Peng. I respectfully welcome the young sect master of the upper sect. May I know why you've come? Advice?" Hearing Fong Peng's words, Tang Yang immediately showed a disdainful expression. He curled his lips and said, "A small sect like yours is not qualified for our advice." After saying those words of disdain to Fong Peng, the arrogant expression on Tang Yang's face became even more pronounced. He said, "Fong Peng, right? Our young sect master Tang, you has had a hard time traveling. Go arrange a secluded courtyard for our young sect master Tang Yu to rest in." Hearing Tang Yang's words, the expressions of Fong Peng and the others sank and a trace of displeasure appeared on their faces. Tang Yang and the others were really too arrogant. Although the Broken Sword Talisman sect was a Seven Seal sect, Tang Yang and the others, who were mere disciples, actually dared to order Fong Peng around. This was a little too arrogant. Even if your Broken Sword Talisman sect is a Seven Seal sect, a mere young sect master like you doesn't have the qualifications to order our sect master around. At this moment, an elder behind Fong Peng walked out with a disdainful expression and berated Tang Yang. "How dare you?" Hearing the elder's words, Tang Yang's expression immediately sank. He raised his hand and took out a talisman and quickly activated it. Once the talisman was activated by Tang Yang, an astonishing aura erupted from it and golden light flickered on the surface of the talisman, following which the golden light within the talisman transformed into a sword-light shadow. Clang! After the sword-light shadow was formed, it suddenly broke apart and its aura became even more terrifying. At the same time, two dazzling sword lights erupted from the talisman's broken shadow. This is a Six Seal Advanced Talisman, the Dual Polarity Broken Sword Talisman. Seeing the sword light of the talisman break apart, Fong Peng's face instantly twitched, and he hurriedly warned the elder, "Elder Pan, be careful. This is the Dual Polarity Broken Sword Talisman. Quickly dodge." At this moment when Fong Peng warned Elder Pan, the sword light of the Dual Polarity Broken Sword Talisman cut through the void and instantly pierced through Elder Pan's body. Poochie! As the two sword lights passed by, Elder Pan's chest and back were instantly pierced through, leaving behind two hideous wounds. Puff! After being hit by the Dual Polarity Broken Sword Talisman, Elder Pan immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and the aura on his body weakened. Elder Pan! Seeing that Elder Pan was hit by the sword light, Fong Peng's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly supported Elder Pan, who was falling down. Cough, cough, cough. After being supported by Fong Peng, Elder Pan continuously coughed and spat out mouthfuls of blood. His face was filled with grief and indignation as he said, "Sect leader, help me pass a message to the 10th young sect leader. Tell him that I won't be able to see him soar into the 9 heavens and amaze everyone in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering." After Elder Pan finished speaking, his body went limp in Fong Peng's arms with a trace of unwillingness. He died. Elder Pan, Elder Pan. Seeing that Elder Pan had died, Fong Peng and the others' faces were filled with grief and indignation as they loudly called out to Elder Pan. However, Elder Pan, who was lying in Fong Peng's arms, could no longer respond to them. You are too much." Chapter 598. The 8 Seal sects are treating us like this. Hearing Fong Peng's words, Tang Yu's face was filled with disdain. He sneered and said, "The Broken Sword Symbol Gate is a vassal sect of the Sword Symbol Sect. Whoever dares to touch the Broken Sword Symbol Gate is going against the Sword Symbol Sect. Do you think the 8 Seal sects will treat us like this?" Tang Yu's face was filled with impatience after hearing Fong Peng's disdainful words. He urged Fong Peng, "All right, stop dilly-dallying. Lead the way and arrange a place for us to stay. Otherwise, I don't mind killing a few more people to liven things up. You've gone too far." Hearing Tang Yu's words, another elder could not hold back his anger. He said, "Sect leader, let's inform the 10th Young Sect leader immediately and let him deal with them." "Deal with us?" Hearing the elder's words, Tang Yang's face darkened. He activated the dual polarity Broken Sword Talisman to attack the elder. Then, the Severing Talisman shone brightly, and 2 more sword rays burst out, bombarding the elder at an extremely fast speed. Seeing the golden radiances coming toward him, the elder did not dare to hesitate. He immediately activated a talisman to defend himself. Scaled Armor Talisman. Once the talisman was activated, he stuck it on his body to defend himself from the attack of the dual polarity Broken Sword Talisman. After sticking the Scaled Armor Talisman on his body, a layer of rock-like scales quickly grew on the elder's body. Clang! Clang! When the 2 sword radiances hit the scales, 2 crisp sounds were heard. However, the rock-like scales were not destroyed. It's not destroyed. Seeing that the dual polarity Broken Sword Talisman did not destroy the elder's rock-like scales, Tang Yu frowned and looked surprised. Immediately after, he took out a talisman and quickly activated it. Heart-piercing Ice Sword Talisman. Once the talisman was activated by Tang Yu, it emitted a terrifying chill that instantly froze the surrounding vegetation. Slash! As the ice sword was formed, it emitted a trembling sound and turned into a white light that shot toward the elder. 7 Seals Talisman. Heart-piercing Ice Arrow Talisman. After seeing those talismans, Fong Peng's expression immediately changed. He shouted at Tang Yu, "Stop! Quickly stop! I'll take you to your residence." However, the moment Fong Peng opened his mouth, the ice sword transformed into a ray of light and instantly slammed into the elder's body. Crack, crack, crack. After being hit by the ice sword, the stone scale armor on the elder's body was instantly shattered. It quickly cracked open and fell from his body. Without the protection of the scales, the ice sword immediately pierced through the elder's body, spinning and entering his body. Being attacked by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman, the elder's face turned pale and he cried out in pain. "Elder Su." Seeing the elder's pained expression, Fong Peng immediately became anxious and said to Tang Yu, "Stop! Stop! Quickly stop!" However, Tang Yu chose to ignore Fong Peng's words. He looked at the ice sword heart-piercing talisman with a mocking expression as it slowly entered Elder Su's body. Seeing the ice sword heart-piercing talisman slowly entering Elder Su's body, Fong Peng and the others were filled with grief and indignation. An intense feeling of pity rose in their hearts. After a short while, Elder Su's body was forcefully penetrated by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman and blood gushed out. "I'll fight it out with you." Seeing Elder Su's miserable state, the other elders of the Mao Fu sect were filled with determination. They wanted to fight it out with Tang Yu and the others. "All of you stop." Seeing their actions, Fong Peng's eyes were also bloodshot. He revealed a sorrowful and indignant expression as he shouted at them to stop their actions. Fong Peng knew very well that with their current strength, they would only end up being slaughtered if they fought with Tang Yu and the others. More importantly, Tang Yu and the others had the powerful backing of the Broken Sword Talisman Gate and the Sword Talisman Gate. Therefore, the Maofu sect could not afford to provoke Tang Yu and the others. They could only swallow their grievances. Sect Master, pass a message to the 10th young Sect Master. Wait until he reaches the dragon's soaring immortal path and avenge me. Elder Su clenched his teeth and held his last breath as he told Fong Peng the wish in his heart. Elder Su, Elder Su. In just a short while, Fong Peng saw 2 Mao Fu sect elders being severely injured and killed by Tang Yu and the others. He said with grief and indignation, Elder Su, I will pass on your message to Qingyan. Avenge? Hearing Elder Su's words, Tang Yu immediately sneered. His eyes were cold as he said, after hearing what these 2 old men said, I'm curious about your 10th young sect master. Senior brother Tang Yu, how about we capture that so-called 10th young sect master and let him lick your shoes? At this moment, Tang Yang, who was standing beside Tang Yu, sneered and suggested, let these old men see how the 10th young sect master, whom they have high hopes for, licks senior brother Tang Yu's shoes. It should be a spectacular scene. Tang Yang, you're getting more and more playful. Hearing Tang Yang's words, Tang Yu immediately sneered and praised Tang Yang. He said, if that's the case, we'll do as you say. I'm also very curious about who this 10th young sect master is. Tang Yu revealed an indifferent expression after uttering those words of anticipation. Then he spoke to Fong Peng in a deep voice. Sect leader Fong, please lead the way for me. I believe that you do not wish for the previous incident to happen again, right? You. Hearing Tang Yu's words, Fong Peng clenched his fists. His face was extremely gloomy. He turned around and said, everyone, follow me. After saying those words, Fong Peng no longer paid any attention to Tang Yu and the others. He turned around and walked into the Mao Fu sect. Seeing Fong Peng's actions, the mocking smile on Tang Yu and the others' faces became even wider. They were beside themselves with joy. After that, Fong Peng led Tang Yang and the others to an empty courtyard in the Mao Fu sect. Everyone, you can stay here for the time being. After a short while, Fong Peng led Tang Yu and the others to a small courtyard in a remote area of the Mao Fu sect. This small courtyard was one of the more remote areas in the Mao Fu sect. Fong Peng brought them here to prevent them from coming into contact with the other disciples of the Mao Fu sect and causing trouble. This place is not bad. Tang Yang swept a glance at the small courtyard and revealed a satisfied expression. He waved his hand at Fong Peng and said, all right, there's nothing for you to do here. You can leave now. If there's anything else, I'll instruct you again. Hearing Tang Yang's words, the elders of the Mao Fu sect were enraged. They couldn't wait to fight him. Seeing the elders' actions, Fong Peng immediately shook his head at them, indicating that they shouldn't be impulsive. Chapter 599. These people from the Broken Sword Talisman sect are too despicable and too arrogant. After leaving the small courtyard where Tang Yu and the others were staying, an elder revealed a furious expression and asked Fong Peng, Sect Master, are we just going to let the death of Elder Pan and Elder Su go? Tang Yu and the rest have a strong background and powerful talismans. They are not people we can fight against. I'm afraid we can only endure today's matter. Hearing the elder's words, Fong Peng's expression turned grave. He sighed and said, in the end, our Mao Fu sect is too weak. In this cruel world, without strength, we will only be a fish on the chopping block of others. After hearing Fong Peng's words, the elders beside him immediately fell silent and agreed with his words. Sect Master, with the 10th young Sect Master's strength, there might be a chance to kill them. After a short moment of silence, an elder's expression changed, and he suggested to Fong Peng, if the 10th young Sect Master makes a move, we can capture all of them and seal off the news of their deaths. This way, no one will know. No, with Tang Yu and the rest's methods, even if Qingyan were to take action, he would not be able to kill them. Hearing the elder's words, Fong Peng's expression immediately turned serious, and he said, if one of them escapes and reports this to the Broken Sword Talisman sect, the Broken Sword Talisman sect will blame us. It's fine if we are killed, but it will implicate Qingyan. After hearing Fong Peng's words, The elders fell silent again and agreed with Fong Peng's idea. Now, everyone knew that Mo Qingyun was the hope of the Maofu sect, and he could not be in any danger. If Mo Qingyun was in danger because of avenging Elder Pan and Elder Su, even if Elder Su and Elder Su were to come back to life, they would not be willing to see such a thing happen. After a short silence, Fong Peng's face turned solemn. He said to an elder in gray beside him, "Elder Yuan, go and inform Qin Yun and the rest immediately. Tell them to set off for Myriad World Mountain immediately, lest Hang Yu and the rest find trouble." "Yes, Sect Master." Hearing Fong Peng's words, Elder Yuan didn't dare to hesitate and immediately went to inform Mo Qingyun. After instructing Elder Yuan, Fong Peng's expression changed slightly. He said to another elder, "Elder Wan, immediately pass down my orders. Tell all the disciples in the sect to go into seclusion. Don't walk around the sect for the next few days." "Yes, Sect Master." Hearing Fong Peng's instructions, Elder Wan nodded and immediately left to convey Fong Peng's order. After informing the two elders, Fong Peng walked forward with a solemn expression. The other elders also followed with solemn expressions. At this moment, an extremely stifling atmosphere could be felt from Fong Peng and the others. A moment later, Elder Yuan brought a heavy expression as he arrived at Hejilan's small courtyard. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and the other two in the pavilion saw Elder Yuan walking over with an anxious expression. "Elder Yuan, why are you here?" Seeing Elder Yuan approaching, Hejilan's face revealed a puzzled expression as she asked with a puzzled expression, "The three of you are here. That's great." Hearing Hejilan's words, Elder Yuan sighed and said to Mo Qingyun and the others, "Sect Master asked me to pass on a message to the three of you. He wants the three of you to leave the Mao Fu sect immediately and head to Myriad World Mountain." "Head to Myriad World Mountain immediately?" Hearing Elder Yuan's words, the puzzled expressions on Mo Qingyun and the other two's faces became even more intense. After a short moment of confusion, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly as he asked Elder Yuan, "Elder Yuan, could it be that something has happened in the sect?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Yuan's expression turned grave. With a bitter expression, he waved his hand and said, "Don't ask about this matter. Listen to me and leave the Mao Fu sect immediately and head to Myriad World Mountain." Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun and the others' hearts jumped. They immediately guessed that something had happened in the Mao Fu sect. "Elder Yuan, what exactly has happened in the sect? Tell us quickly." Knowing that something had happened in the Mao Fu sect, Hejilan's face was filled with anxiety as she hurriedly urged Elder Yuan. Hearing Hejilan's words, Elder Yuan's face revealed a difficult expression. He glanced at Mo Qing and said in a deep voice, "After hearing my words, you must remain calm, especially Mo Qing." Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qing's expression immediately tensed up as a bad feeling rose in his heart. After instructing Mo Qingyun and the others, Elder Yuan no longer hid anything. He gritted his teeth and said, "Mo Qing, your master, Elder Su, was killed in the sect just now." Thump, thump, thump. Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qing's body immediately trembled as he unconsciously took a few steps back. At that moment, a scene appeared in front of Mo Qing's eyes. Back then, in a small valley, when he was being chased by a ferocious tiger, an old man raised his hand and killed the ferocious tiger. After seeing the old man kill the ferocious tiger, Mo Qing's eyes revealed an innocent expression as he asked the old man, "Old Grandpa, are you a deity?" "Haha, old Grandpa is not a deity. I'm only a talisman master." "Talisman master, that's amazing. Old Grandpa, can you teach me to become a talisman master?" "Sure." Scenes of the past quickly flashed through Mo Qing's mind. "Master." Recalling the past between him and Elder Su, Mo Qing's eyes immediately turned scarlet as he clenched his fists tightly. His expression was somewhat insane as he said, "Elder Yuan, please tell me quickly, who killed my master?" "Where are they now?" Mo Qing, don't be rash. The other party is from the Seven Seal sect. With your strength, you're still no match for him. If you want to avenge Elder Su, then participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering first. Seeing Mo Qing's expression, a trace of worry flashed across Elder Yuan's eyes as he hurriedly said to Mo Qing, "As long as you amaze everyone in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering and enter the 10 great sects to cultivate, you'll definitely have the opportunity to kill your enemy in the future." Seven Seals Sect. Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun and He Zhilan's expressions changed as they were somewhat shocked at the other party's background. If that was the case, with the other party's powerful background and strength, it was indeed not suitable for Mo Qing to seek revenge. After a short moment of silence, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he asked Elder Yuan, "Elder Yuan, how is the other party's strength? Is there a Seven Seal Great Talisman Master accompanying him?" With Mo Qingyun's personality, he naturally would not allow the other party to kill someone and directly let the matter slide. With Mo Qingyun's way of doing things, since he had the strength to seek revenge, he would not delay his revenge. Chapter 600. 10th Young Sect Master. They're all at the intermediate 6th Seal stage, and one of them is close to the advanced 6th Seal stage. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Elder Yuan was silent for a moment before he reported to Mo Qingyun. Since they are not accompanied by a 7th Seal Great Symbol Master, they are not a threat. After learning about their strength from Elder Yuan, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He turned to Mo Qing and asked, "Senior brother Mo, do you plan to take revenge now, or do you plan to personally go to their sect to take revenge when you are successful in your cultivation?" In Mo Qingyun's opinion, Elder Su was Mo Qingyun's master. It would be best if Mo Qingyun could personally kill his enemies. Mo Qingyun's words shocked Mo Qing and the others. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, it seemed that as long as Mo Qing nodded, he would immediately take revenge on Tang Yu and the others. After understanding Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Mo Qing's face revealed a hesitant expression, and a strong struggle arose in his heart. If he allowed Mo Qingyun to kill the other party, it would implicate Mo Qingyun and bring a lot of trouble to Mo Qingyun. After all, the other party was from the Seven Seal sect, and their strength was not comparable to the Corpse Talisman sect. Even with Mo Qingyun's means, he was not completely confident in facing them. However, Mo Qing was unwilling to let the other party go just like that. At this moment, Mo Qing's heart was filled with hesitation. 10th Young Sect Master, you must not be impulsive. Although they are not accompanied by a 7th Seal Great Symbol Master, they all have powerful trump cards and strength. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was hesitating, Elder Yuan's expression turned solemn as he hurriedly advised him. Moreover, their sect, the Broken Sword Talisman sect, is a subsidiary of the 8th Seal sect, the Sword Talisman sect. It is not something we can fight against. Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He made a decision in his heart. He did not want Mo Qingyun to be involved in this. Junior brother Mo, thank you for your kind intentions. However, let me take revenge myself. After Mo Qingyun made up his mind, he thanked Mo Qingyun and said coldly, "When I'm successful in my cultivation, I will personally go to the Broken Sword Talisman Gate and destroy it with my own hands." Mo Qingyun was very clear about Mo Qing's thoughts. He knew that Mo Qing did not want to drag him down with him. Perhaps Mo Qing felt that even though Mo Qingyun was strong, he was still no match for the Broken Sword Talisman sect, not to mention the Sword Talisman sect behind him. That's fine too. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had made his decision, Mo Qingyun did not try to persuade him any further and nodded in agreement. From Mo Qingyun's point of view, perhaps this hatred hidden in Mo Qing's heart could become his motivation for cultivation. A subsidiary sect of the Sword Talisman sect? I wonder if Master knows about this sect? At this moment, Mo Qingyun frowned and started to ponder. As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and immediately said to Elder Yuan and the others, Elder Yuan, senior brother Mo, Jalan, I'm going back to my residence. Come with me. Hearing Imo Qingyun's words, Imo Qing and the rest hesitated for a moment before nodding to Imo Qingyun. Then, Imo Qingyun and the rest left Hejilan's courtyard and headed towards Elder Tan's courtyard. After a while, Imo Qingyun and the rest arrived at Elder Tan's courtyard. The moment they walked into Elder Tan's courtyard, Imo Qingyun saw Su Shan and Zhang Jie anxiously talking to Elder Tan. Junior brother Imo, you're finally back. Seeing that Imo Qingyun had returned, Su Shan and Zhang Jie were pleasantly surprised and quickly walked towards Imo Qingyun. Senior brother Su, senior brother Zhang, what happened? Why are the two of you so anxious? Seeing the anxious expressions on Su Shan and Zhang Jie's faces, Imo Qingyun's expression turned grave and he hurriedly asked them. Junior sister Zhang Wei and senior sister Li Jing were kidnapped by a group of people. Hearing Imo Qingyun's words, Su Shan anxiously replied. He continued, we don't know where that group of people came from. They're crazily kidnapping female disciples and killing male disciples who try to stop them. There's actually such a thing? Hearing Su Shan and Zhang Jie's words, Imo Qingyun's face immediately darkened. He turned to look at Elder Yuan and said in a deep voice, Elder Yuan, what exactly is going on? I don't want you to hide anything from me anymore. Originally, Imo Qingyun thought that the other party would have left after killing Elder Su and Zhang Jie. He didn't expect that after killing Elder Su and Zhang Jie, not only did the other party not leave the Thatched Talisman sect, they even started to stir up trouble in the sect. This was something that Imo Qingyun couldn't tolerate. It's like this. A group of disciples from the Broken Sword Talisman sect suddenly came to my Thatched Talisman sect today. Elder Yuan no longer concealed the truth when he heard Imo Qingyun's words. He immediately walked up to Imo Qingyun and said, they're currently staying in the Immortal Zhong courtyard on the west side of the Thatched Talisman sect. I'm sure the female disciples that they kidnapped were brought to the Immortal Zhong courtyard. They're actually staying in the Thatched Talisman sect? Imo Qingyun's expression turned even darker when he heard Elder Yuan's words. His eyes flashed with intense killing intent as he said to Elder Yuan, bring me to the Immortal Zhong courtyard immediately. We'll talk about the rest as we walk. 10th Young Sect Master, you mustn't be rash. Elder Yuan immediately became nervous when he heard Imo Qingyun's plan. He tried to persuade Imo Qingyun. Elder Yuan, could it be that you wanted to look on helplessly as senior sister Zhang Wei and senior sister Li Jing are raped by them? At that moment, before Elder Yuan could finish his words, Imo Qingyun interrupted him. With a cold and detached tone, he said, since they've killed Elder Su and Elder Pan and are still staying in the Mao Talisman sect, they can stay in the Mao Talisman sect forever. Master, please lead the way for us. Imo Qingyun no longer paid any attention to Elder Yuan after he voiced his displeasure. He turned to look at Elder Tan at the side. All right, Elder Tan agreed without any hesitation when he heard Imo Qingyun's words. He led the way for Imo Qingyun. Master, do you know the origin of the Broken Sword Talisman sect? On the way to Immortal Zhong courtyard, Imo Qingyun revealed a cold expression and asked Elder Tan a question. Of course, Elder Tan's face turned cold when he heard Imo Qingyun asking about the Broken Sword Talisman sect. The founder of the Broken Sword Talisman sect was a true disciple of the Weapon Talisman sect. He was expelled from the sect because he betrayed the Weapon Talisman sect. I didn't expect him to establish the Broken Sword Talisman sect. It seems like the founder of the Broken Sword Talisman sect is a talent. Imo Qingyun was shocked when he heard Elder Tan's explanation. He was surprised by the ability of the founder of the Broken Sword Talisman sect. If it wasn't for the protection of the Sword Talisman sect, that brat wouldn't have been able to establish his sect. Chapter 601. 10th Young Sect Master. Before Elder Pan and Elder Su died, they wanted us to pass on a message to you. At this moment, Elder Yuan, who was following behind Imo Qingyun and the rest, reported to Imo Qingyun after struggling in his heart. What message? Because of Elder Yuan's attitude just now, Mo Qingyun was a little dissatisfied with him. Therefore, Mo Qingyun's tone was not very friendly at this moment. Elder Pan wanted us to pass on a message to you. He couldn't bear to see you go to the soaring dragon myriad talisman immortal meeting. Elder Su wanted us to pass on a message to you. When you go to the soaring dragon myriad talisman immortal meeting, please take revenge for him. Elder Yuan had an ashamed look on his face as he slowly explained to Mo Qingyun. According to Elder Su, he hoped that Mo Qingyun would take revenge for him. However, he actually hid this matter from Mo Qingyun. Hearing Elder Yuan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression instantly turned cold. He said gloomily, Elder Yuan, are you trying to make me feel guilty towards Elder Su and Elder Su? Mo Qingyun really did not expect Elder Yuan to hide such a thing. This made him even more dissatisfied with Elder Yuan. I wouldn't dare. Sensing Mo Qingyun's killing intent, Elder Yuan's face twitched. He immediately revealed a look of respect. Oof. After snorting at Elder Yuan, Mo Qingyun ignored him and went straight to Immortal Zhong courtyard. Following that, Mo Qingyun and the rest chatted as they rushed towards Immortal Zhong courtyard. After a while, Mo Qingyun and the rest arrived at Immortal Zhong courtyard and saw the few people from the Broken Sword Talisman sect. As soon as Mo Qingyun walked into Immortal Zhong courtyard, he saw Zhang Wei and the rest. At this moment, they were hung on wooden poles. Zhang Wei and the rest's clothes were torn by brute force. Through the gaps of the torn clothes, one could faintly see their snow-white skin. Junior brother Mo, save me. 10th young sect master, please save us. Seeing Mo Qingyun's arrival, Zhang Wei and the other girls immediately showed joy, as if they had found hope. 10th young master? Hearing the words of Zhang Yun and the other girls, Tang Yu and the others were surprised. They looked up at Mo Qingyun and said mockingly, Boy, so you are the 10th young sect master. We haven't gone to find you, but you came to us yourself. Initial stage, 5th seal, cultivation. Tang Yang sized up Mo Qingyun with a look of disdain. He curled his lips at Mo Qingyun and said, Those old fellows all praised you to the heavens. And here I was wondering how awesome you were. Turns out you're just a 5 seal initial stage brat. Initial stage 5th seal cultivation, enough to kill you. When he heard Tang Yang's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he replied. After replying to Tang Yang, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else. He turned to Mo Qing and said, Senior Mo, Senior Zhilan, go and save Senior Zhang and the others. Leave these people to me. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mo Qing and the others responded and immediately went to save Zhang Wei and the other girls. You're courting death. Seeing the actions of Mo Qing and the others, Tang Yang's expression immediately darkened. He was about to attack Mo Qing and the others. Junior Tang Yang, don't be anxious. Seeing that Tang Yang was about to attack, Tang Yu smiled coldly and raised his hand to stop Tang Yang. He said coldly, Don't be in a hurry to attack them. Go and call Fong Peng and the others over. Senior Tang Yu, what are you planning to do? Hearing Tang Yu's order, Tang Yang was puzzled and asked Tang Yu. When Tang Yu heard Tang Yang's question, a perverted smile appeared on his face. With a sinister expression, he said, Wait a moment. I'm going to trample on their 10th young sect master in front of those old fogies of the Thatch Talisman sect. I'm going to play with their female disciples at the same time. Haha, Senior Tang Yu is wise. I'll go and call Fong Peng and the others over. Hearing Tang Yu's words, Tang Yang understood Tang Yu's intention. He revealed a cold smile and went to call Fong Peng and the others over. When Tang Yang went to call Fong Peng and the others, Mo Qing and the others helped Zhang Wei and the other girls to Mo Qingyun's side and asked, Junior brother Mo, what should we do now? Hearing Mo Qing's words, Mo Qingyun looked at Zhang Wei and the other girls and asked in a deep voice, Senior sisters, can you still hold on? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the girls were stunned. They didn't understand what Mo Qingyun meant. We can still hold on. However, after a short moment of silence, The girls answered Mo Qingyun in unison. Good. Hearing the girls' answers, Mo Qingyun revealed a cold expression and said to the girls, "In that case, senior sisters, sit here and watch me avenge you by killing these guys from the Broken Sword Talisman sect." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the girls' expressions immediately became emotional, and their eyes flashed with strong emotions. "Junior brother Mo, thank you. 10th young sect master, you don't have to worry about us. Just focus on killing them. When these guys kidnapped us, they killed many of our senior brothers and junior brothers. You must kill them. That's right. Kill them and avenge our dead senior brothers." At this moment, everyone's expression was emotional as they spoke to Mo Qingyun. At this moment, when the girls were speaking to Mo Qingyun, "Young lord, this old servant has awakened." A joyful voice was transmitted into Mo Qingyun's mind. He was pleasantly surprised. Not only that, but when I set up the hoodwinking swap, this old servant's cultivation base also advanced to the middle level of the Divine Palace realm by chance. The 9 temples have awakened. Hearing the words in his mind, a bright smile immediately appeared on Mo Qingyun's face. The 9 temples had awakened at the right time. After a moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun revealed a bright smile and said to the girls, "Senior sisters, don't worry. None of them will be able to escape today." Shameless boasting. "Boy, I'll let you jump around for a while. Do you really think you're a big shot?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu's face was full of disdain. He said coldly to Mo Qingyun, "Later, I'll make you obediently lick the soles of my shoes in front of these girls. I'll let them know how useless the 10th young sect master they admire is." After saying those cold words to Mo Qingyun, Tang Yu revealed a sinister smile. He turned to look at Zhang Wei and the other girls and said, "Girls, after I deal with your 10th young sect master, I'll slowly accompany you and let your 10th young sect master see your wonderful performance. Senior brother Tang Yu, I've brought him to you." At this moment, after Tang Yu's words, Tang Yang, who had gone to find Fong Peng and the others, returned to the small courtyard. When Tang Yang returned to the small courtyard, Fong Peng and the others arrived. "Qingyun, why are you here?" Chapter 602. Sect Master, Elder Yuan felt wronged when he heard Fong Peng's reproach. He didn't know what to say. Right now, he was like a pig looking into a mirror. He wasn't human at all. "Sect Master, we'll talk about this later." Mo Qingyun interrupted Fong Peng when he heard Fong Peng reproach Elder Yuan. He said to them in a low voice, "Stand aside for now. Let me kill these people first." This, Fong Peng and the rest frowned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. Worry flashed across their faces. Mo Qingyun ignored Fong Peng and the rest. He turned to Tang Yu and the rest and said, "Since you're all here, it's time to send you off to accompany Elders Su and the rest." Shameless boasting. A 5-seal initial stage brat. Aren't you afraid of slapping your own tongue with your boasting? Disdain immediately appeared on Tang Yang's face when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said disdainfully, "Brat, don't say that I'm looking down on you. Even if I stood here and let you attack me, you wouldn't be able to harm me at all. I hope you can still say that later." When he heard Tang Yang's words, Mo Qingyun smiled coldly and mocked him. 9 temples. Let's perform the soul grafting and set up the formation, Mo Qingyun said coldly. He didn't say anything else to Tang Yang. Instead, he sent a message to the 9 temples. "Yes, young lord." The 9 temples immediately responded when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They performed the soul grafting with Mo Qingyun. As Mo Qingyun and the 9 temples performed the soul grafting, Mo Qingyun's aura surged. 6-seal middle stage soul cultivation. Fong Peng and the rest were shocked when they sensed the change in Mo Qingyun's soul aura. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's current performance really surprised them. At this moment, Mo Qingyun displayed the aura of an intermediate 6th seal, but it was different from before. Previously, when Mo Qingyun displayed the aura of the 6 seals, it was the aura of his elemental energy cultivation. But this time, it was the power of the soul. Mo Qingyun actually had a way to raise his spiritual strength to the sixth seal. This scene was far beyond the expectations of Fong Peng and the others. Mother asterisk her. How many trump cards does this brat have? Seeing Mo Qingyun's current performance, Elder Tan could not help but blurt out. He looked at Mo Qingyun with a pleasantly surprised expression. Hearing Elder Tan's words, Fong Peng and the rest were speechless as they smiled bitterly. However, before Fong Peng and the others could smile bitterly, the expressions on their faces froze. At this moment, they saw Mo Qingyun floating in the air and waving his hands rapidly in the air. Under Mo Qingyun's waving hands, strange runes appeared in the air and exuded a shocking power. These were array runes. Mo Qingyun was drawing an array rune. These are array runes. The 10th young sect master is drawing an array rune. The 10th young sect master is so handsome. When he is drawing an array rune, he exudes a scholarly aura. It's intoxicating. Senior sister, you're already in such a state, and you're still in the mood to be infatuated. I can't help it. The 10th young sect master is too handsome. I can't help it. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the crowd was shocked, and different thoughts arose in their minds. Drawing an array rune in the air. This seems to be an extremely high level of array rune. I didn't expect this brat to have such shocking attainments in array runes. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was drawing the array formation, Elder Tan revealed a look of shock. He was quite shocked by the scene before him. Junior brother Mo is really a genius. He has amazing talent in every field. I'm so envious. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was drawing an array rune in the air, Mo Qing and the rest couldn't help but exclaim, Qingyun, this little fellow, is becoming more and more unfathomable. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Fong Peng and the rest couldn't help but sigh. With complicated expressions, Fong Peng said, it seems like our previous decision was wrong. Hearing Fong Peng's words, the elders by the side all fell silent, expressing their approval of Fong Peng's words. Judging from Mo Qingyun's skills, Tang Yu and the rest wouldn't be able to escape once his array rune was completed. Since Tang Yu and the rest couldn't escape, the news of them being killed in the Mao Fu sect wouldn't reach the Broken Sword Rune sect. In that case, Mo Qingyun wouldn't have to worry about killing Tang Yu and the rest. At that moment, while Fong Peng and the rest were pleasantly surprised, Tang Yu and the rest were worried and panicked. They knew very well that once Mo Qingyun's array rune was completed, it would be extremely disadvantageous for them. Oh no, that kid actually knows array rune. We can't let him complete the array rune. Seeing Mo Qingyun setting up the array rune, Tang Yu immediately became anxious and hurriedly said to the people beside him, immediately attack that kid and stop him for drawing the array rune. We can't let him complete the array rune. Yes, young sect master. Hearing Tang Yu's words, the people behind Tang Yu immediately responded and attacked Mo Qingyun. Then, the people from the Broken Sword Rune sect took out their talismans and activated them to attack Mo Qingyun. It's too late to make a move now. Seeing the actions of the Broken Sword Talisman Gate, Mo Qingyun had a mocking expression on his face as he mocked them. Minor, all-encompassing Immortal Trap Formation, activate. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and pointed at the rune in the air. Immediately, the rune began to shine brightly, following which, these array symbols rapidly grew in size. At the same time, the surrounding Yuan power frantically converged towards the array symbols. Not long after, a colorful light screen was formed at an extremely fast speed. It quickly flew towards the Broken Sword Talisman door. Activating the Minor Universe Immortal Trap Formation, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed rapidly, dodging the talisman attacks from the Broken Sword Talisman Gates group. A moment later, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold after dodging the talisman attacks of Tang Yu and the others. He said coldly to Tang Yu and the others, since the formation has been completed, you should obediently accept your deaths. Oomph. Kid, I admit that you're quite skilled. To think that you're even proficient in formations. In response to Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu's expression turned cold. He disdainfully said to Mo Qingyun, "But with your cultivation level, even if you manage to trap us, what can you do to us? What can I do to you?" Upon hearing this, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a brilliant smile. He looked sympathetically at Tang Yu and the others and said, "Now you'll see what I can do to you." Chapter 603. It was Tang Yang who killed Elder Pan. Fong Peng did not hesitate when he heard this. He raised his hand and pointed at the brown-haired youth, Tang Yang. Then, he raised his hand and pointed at Tang Yu. As for Elder Su, he was killed by Tang Yu using the Seven Seals talisman. As Fong Peng spoke, Mo Qingyun did not slack off. He quickly started to draw runes in the air. Mo Qingyun was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had drawn another formation. Yin-Yang 5 elements separation formation. Once Mo Qingyun finished drawing the formation, he activated it without hesitation and blasted it towards Tang Yu and the others. Then, Tang Yu and the others who were trapped in the minor universe immortal trap formation were forcefully separated and trapped in different small formations. "All right, I got it." After doing all this, Mo Qingyun replied to Fong Peng. Then, he turned to look at Tang Yang and said coldly, "If that's the case, I'll kill you first. Mo-san, merge with me." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he summoned Mo-san without hesitation and unleashed his martial soul super ability, the Gate of Fusion. "Kill me?" After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yang's face was full of disdain. He laughed coldly and said, "Let's see if you have the ability to." At this time, without waiting for Tang Yang to finish speaking, he was unable to say anything else. His face was instantly filled with panic. Advanced 6 seals. In a short period of time, Mo Qingyun's aura rose to the advanced 6 seals. Tang Yang's cultivation was only at the peak of the intermediate 6 seals. He was only one step away from the advanced 6 seals. Didn't this mean that his cultivation was lower than Mo Qingyun's? If this was the case, the situation in front of him was not good. Although you use some method to raise your cultivation, I don't believe that there's no limit to your method. After calming down the panic in his heart, Tang Yang revealed a cold expression. He looked at Mo Qingyun and said malevolently, "When you can't maintain this state, see how I'll torture you to death. You're thinking too much. I have more than enough time to kill you before I deactivate the fusion state." In response to Tang Yang's words, Mo Qingyun's face was cold and indifferent. After replying with a cold sentence, he began to attack Tang Yang. "Seal gate, seal for me." Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time with Tang Yang. He immediately summoned the Gate of Seals and executed his martial spirit's superpower. As soon as the martial soul divine ability was released, it turned into a mini light gate and shot towards Tang Yang. Puff! Due to the speed of the sealing gate's attack being too fast and the fact that it had happened so suddenly, before Tang Yang could even react, the sealing gate had already smashed into his body. Poochie! After being hit by the sealed door, Tang Yang's soul was immediately suppressed, and he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, following which the aura on Tang Yang's body rapidly weakened. Soon, it was only at the 5-seal advanced level. How? How could this be? Sensing that his cultivation had weakened, Tang Yang's face immediately revealed a look of panic. He looked at Mo Qingyun with eyes filled with fear and said in a panic, "What did you do to me? Why is my cultivation base weakening?" "You'll know when you're down there." In response to Tang Yang's words, Mo Qingyun replied coldly and attacked him again. Scarlet Flame, Heavenly Dragon, appear. At this moment, Mo Qingyun summoned the Scarlet Flame, Heavenly Dragon martial spirit and did not intend to hold back anymore. Roar! Following which, a dragon's roar resounded through the heavens and earth, coming from above Mo Qingyun's body. Blood Chi Rampage. After summoning the Scarlet Flame, Heavenly Dragon martial spirit, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate to execute his martial soul divine ability. Following which, Mo Qingyun's aura rose again and reached the Heaven Dipper 8th level. Sensing the rise of Mo Qingyun's aura, Tang Yu and the others' faces turned pale. At the same time, the reverence in their eyes when they looked at Mo Qingyun intensified. He can still increase his cultivation. How? How can he have such a heaven-defying technique? Who is this kid? How can there be such a monstrous existence in a Six Seal sect? This kid isn't from the path of immortality. Why is he hiding in a Malfu sect? Where did he come from? Also, where the white light door and the scarlet dragon shadow above him? At this moment, apart from shock and fear, Tang Yu and the others were also puzzled. Mo Qingyun's current behavior was a little too strange for them. Raptor break. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned into a streak of light and pounced towards Tang Yang. As Mo Qingyun pounced towards Tang Yang, he took out the scorching flame halberd from his interspatial bag and slashed it towards Tang Yang. As soon as Mo Qingyun swung his halberd, the flames on the scorching flame halberd surged and emitted a terrifying heat wave that illuminated the entire courtyard red. Under the assault of the heat wave, Tang Yang, who bore the brunt of it, immediately felt a burning pain. So strong. Tang Yang's expression twitched as he looked at the halberd that was slashing towards him. A strong sense of panic rose in his heart. Golden spiritual sword talisman. While Tang Yang was panicking, he did not dare to hesitate. He took out a talisman and immediately activated it. As soon as Tang Yang activated the golden spiritual sword talisman, a sharp aura burst out and turned into a streak of golden sword light that shot towards Mo Qingyun. This sword light talisman actually contains a strand of the power of metal. As the golden spiritual sword talisman shot towards Mo Qingyun revealed a surprised expression. He was somewhat surprised by the power contained in the golden spiritual sword talisman. Sun incinerating mountain splitting blade. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun waved the scorching flame halberd and raised his hand to slash at the golden sword light. Then, the power of flame on the scorching flame halberd immediately became more intense and turned into a fire dragon blade light. As soon as the fire dragon blade light was formed, it emitted a terrifying dragon power and shot towards the golden sword light at an extremely fast speed. Pucci. As Mo Qingyun had not comprehended the power of metal, the fire dragon blade light was unable to block Tang Yang's golden spiritual sword talisman. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's halberd was unable to block his talisman's sword light, Tang Yang's face immediately revealed a surprised expression. He laughed proudly and said, "Boy, I thought you were strong. It turns out that you're just a wax head with a silver spear. Nice to look at, but useless." Pucci. At this moment, while Tang Yang's face was filled with pride, Mo Qingyun once again waved the scorching flame halberd and destroyed the sword light that was attacking him. Chapter 604. You'll know soon enough whether or not I'm a candlehead. After that, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he arrived by Tang Yang's side. He raised his halberd and slashed down at Tang Yang. When Mo Qingyun attacked, his body exuded the wind ultimacy, which increased his speed to the maximum. So fast, seeing Mo Qingyun make a move, the complacency on Tang Yang's face instantly disappeared and was replaced by intense panic. Tang Yang immediately turned around and tried to dodge Mo Qingyun's attack. "You can't escape." When Mo Qingyun saw Tang Yang turning around to flee, a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth as he released his perfected earth profundity. Gravity suppression. Following that, Tang Yang immediately felt as if a small mountain was pressing down on his body, making it difficult for him to move an inch. How could this be? After discovering this, Tang Yang immediately panicked, and a trace of despair appeared on his face. He cultivated soul power and was not good at close combat. Now that Mo Qingyun was fighting him in close combat, the result was obvious. Mo Qingyun did not have any means to deal with Tang Yang's panicked expression and slashed his halberd at him. Puff! Tang Yang could not react in time, and his shoulder was pierced by Mo Qingyun's halberd. My hand! With his shoulder pierced, Tang Yong immediately screamed, and his face turned pale. This halberd strike is for Elder Pan. Mo Qingyun ignored Tang Yang's screams and spun the halberd in his hand rapidly, cutting off Tang Yang's arm. After chopping off Tang Yang's arm with his halberd, Mo Qingyun's hands did not stop moving. He once again chopped down with his halberd. Tang Yang, who was in his peak condition, could not even react to Mo Qingyun's attack, let alone Tang Yang, who had lost an arm. Crack! Then, the crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. Tang Yang's remaining arm was pierced by Mo Qingyun. This halberd strike is for the senior sisters of the sect. After the halberd pierced through Tang Yang's arm, Mo Qingyun coldly uttered these words. Then he once again rotated the halberd in his hand, cutting off Tang Yang's arm. Brat, you'll die a horrible death. The Broken Sword Talisman sect won't let you off for treating me like this. Both of his arms were crippled by Mo Qingyun. Tang Yang's face was filled with hatred as he said some vicious words to Mo Qingyun. I don't know if the Broken Sword Talisman gate will let me go. I only know that I won't let you go. As Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he held the scorching flame halberd in his hand and directly pierced it towards Tang Yang's chest. Stop! Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Tang Yu's face turned ferocious as he roared at Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore his words, and his hands moved even faster. Don't kill me, I was wrong, seeing the halberd in Mo Qingyun's hand emitting a cold light as it approached him. Tang Yang's face finally revealed a look of panic as he begged for mercy. I was wrong to kill your sect elder. I'm willing to burn incense for him. I plop. At that moment, before Tang Yang could finish his words, the halberd in Mo Qingyun's hand pierced through his chest and came out from his back. Seeing the halberd in Mo Qingyun's hand pierced through his chest, Tang Yang's eyes widened. He couldn't believe this was real. Tang Yang, was a genius in the Broken Sword Talisman sect of the Seven Seals sect. It was extremely likely that he would become the young sect master of the Broken Sword Talisman sect. But now, in a small Six Seals sect, he was killed by a Five Seals initial stage disciple. This ending was too ironic and too cruel for him. When you killed Elder Pan, you were already a dead man. In response to Tang Yang's words, Mo Qingyun coldly replied as he pulled the blazing halberd out of Tang Yang's chest. Plop! After Mo Qingyun pulled the blazing halberd out of Tang Yang's body, Tang Yang's eyes widened as he fell to the ground. He died with his eyes wide open. You killed Tang Yang. Seeing Tang Yang fall to the ground, Tang Yu's face was filled with shock. He couldn't believe that this was real. Mo Qingyun actually killed Tang Yang. Wasn't he afraid of the Broken Sword Talisman sect and the Sword Talisman sect's revenge? Don't worry, it'll be your turn soon. In response to Tang Yu's shocked words, Mo Qingyun coldly replied as he walked towards the other disciples of the Broken Sword Talisman sect. You don't come over. Seeing Mo Qingyun walk towards him, a disciple of the Broken Sword Talisman sect immediately panicked. His cultivation wasn't as high as Tang Yang's, but even Tang Yang was killed by Mo Qingyun. He could already guess his fate. You guys can feel fear too? Weren't you guys very arrogant when you killed people? In response to this disciple's panic, Mo Qingyun mocked him and attacked him without hesitation. Compared to Tang Yang, this disciple's strength was not small. Under Mo Qingyun's torrential attacks, he could not resist at all. Soon, under Mo Qingyun's powerful attacks, he was killed by the blazing halberd. However, his luck was better than Tang Yang's, and he was not killed by Mo Qingyun. After killing this person, Mo Qingyun did not stop and walked towards another disciple of the Broken Sword Talisman sect. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was like a reaper, constantly reaping the lives of the Broken Sword Talisman sect's disciples. Next, the Broken Sword Talisman sect's disciples were killed one after another by Mo Qingyun. Brat, stop right there. Tang Yu's face was filled with madness when he saw Mo Qingyun killing his junior brothers. He roared at Mo Qingyun, Brat, if you don't stop now, I will bring people to destroy your Mao Fu sect one day. Destroy my Mao Fu sect? Wait until you leave this place. In response to Tang Yu's words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said, "If I don't kill them now, will you let my Mao Fu sect go? You want me to let your Mao Fu sect go? Dream on." Tang Yu's face immediately turned cold when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He replied to Mo Qingyun, "If that's the case, why should I spare your lives?" Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he heard Tang Yu's words. He walked towards the remaining 2 disciples of the Broken Sword Talisman sect and said, "After I kill these 2, it will be your turn." Soon, the remaining 2 disciples of the Broken Sword Talisman sect were also killed by Mo Qingyun's powerful attacks. Tang Yu could not help but be stunned when he saw this scene. He could not believe that this was real. Their Broken Sword Talisman sect's genius disciples were killed one after another in a 6-seal sect. Moreover, they did not even have the slightest ability to resist. He also did not expect that a monstrous disciple like Mo Qingyun would appear in a small 6-seal sect. Even in an 8-seal sect, such a person would be considered a top-notch monstrous existence. It's your turn. Chapter 605. Fong Peng and the others were in a daze when they saw the 2 figures confronting each other in the formation. They felt that everything was unreal. Apart from Tang Yu, everyone else from the Severed Talisman sect was dead. All of them had died at the hands of Mo Qingyun. From the looks of it, it wouldn't be long before Tang Yu followed in the footsteps of the others. When they thought of this, the shock on Fong Peng's and the others' faces became even more intense. Apart from Tang Yu, everyone else from the Severed Sword Talisman sect is dead. They all died at the hands of the 10th Young Sect Master. The 10th Young Sect Master didn't lie to us. He is fulfilling his promise to us. To be able to receive such kindness from the 10th Young Sect Master, my life has not been in vain. Seeing the 10th Young Sect Master take revenge for me, I suddenly feel that the injuries on my body were worth it. At this moment, all the women were moved as they looked at Qingyun with sparkling eyes. It seems that letting Qingyun leave the Mao Fu sect was indeed a wrong decision. Fong Peng sighed when he saw that only Tang Yu was left among the people from the Severed Sword Talisman sect. He continued, "Qingyun seems to be creating miracles all the time. There's nothing he can't do." Upon hearing Fong Peng's words, the surrounding elders silently agreed with Fong Peng's words. At this moment, inside the formation, Mo Qingyun, you are indeed very capable. I admit that I have underestimated you. Looking at Mo Qingyun before him, Tang Yu sorted out his emotions and said to Mo Qingyun with an indifferent expression, "It's truly too much of a waste for a talent like you to stay in a tiny 6-seal sect. How about we make a deal? As long as you let me go, I will recommend you to enter the 8-seal sect, the Sword Talisman sect. How about it?" 8-seal sect, the Sword Talisman sect? A faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face when he heard Tang Yu's words. He pretended to be hesitant as he said, "This condition sounds very tempting, but do you have the ability to do so? If you really have the ability, why would you stay in the 7-seal sect, the Severed Sword Talisman sect?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu was immediately at a loss for words. He was unable to refute Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun's words were true. With his status, he was indeed not qualified to recommend Mo Qingyun to enter the 8-seal sect, the Sword Charm sect. The reason why he said that was because he had heard rumors that the Sword Talisman sect was going to recruit a group of talented disciples from the Broken Sword Talisman sect. While Tang Yu was a loss for words, Mo Qingyun looked at him mockingly and said nonchalantly, "Moreover, if I think the Thatch Seal sect is too small, I can directly enter the 9 Seals sect through the 10,000 Talismans Immortal Assembly. Why would I need to enter the Sword Talisman School?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu's face immediately turned gloomy. He understood Mo Qingyun's thoughts and coldly said, "So you're saying that you won't let me go? Let you go?" Hearing Tang Yu's words, Mo Qingyun's eyes immediately turned cold. He said coldly, "When you killed Elder Su, you were already a dead man, just like Tang Yang and the rest. Seal gate, seal for me." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he did not waste any more words with Tang Yu. He immediately unleashed his martial soul superpower. Following that, a mini light gate formed in Mo Qingyun's hand in the blink of an eye. It turned into a ray of light and blasted towards Tang Yu. Seeing the seal gate coming towards him, Tang Yu's expression immediately changed. A hint of panic flashed across his face. He had clearly seen how Mo Qingyun had forcefully sealed the cultivation of the other disciples of the Broken Sword Talisman sect. Illusory Sword Cloud Seal. Immediately after, Tang Yu did not dare to hesitate. He immediately took out a talisman and activated it at an extremely fast speed. Once the talisman was activated, it turned into a cloud-like blur and instantly enveloped Tang Yu. Following that, Tang Yu's figure was shrouded by the blur and disappeared in front of Mo Qingyun's eyes. Tang Yu, you're too naive. You can't dodge the seal gate with a mere hallucination talisman. Seeing Tang Yu's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a mocking expression and mocked him. Tang Yu's spiritual soul was immediately suppressed by the seal gate's attack, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Poof! Following that, a ray of bloody light flashed in the blur of the cloud. Seeing that the illusory sword cloud talisman was unable to block the seal gate, Tang Yu removed the talisman and his figure appeared in front of Mo Qingyun again. At this moment, Tang Yu's aura rapidly fell from the advanced 6th seal to the peak of the 5th seal. Bird of Prey break. Seeing Tang Yu's figure appear, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated, and his figure moved swiftly towards Tang Yu. As Mo Qingyun's figure moved, a terrifying Yuan power storm swept out around his body. Once this storm was formed, it swept towards Tang Yu like a tornado, sweeping away the clouds. So fast. Tang Yu's expression immediately twitched when he saw Mo Qingyun charging at him at an extremely fast speed. His face flashed with intense panic. At this moment, he finally understood why Tang Yang and the rest were unable to resist Mo Qingyun's attack at all. Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman. After a short moment of hesitation, Tang Yu did not dare to hesitate and immediately took out a bluish-green talisman and activated it. Immediately, a bone-chilling coldness was emitted from the talisman. Mo Qingyun, go to hell. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun was close to Tang Yu threw out the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman. It turned into a ray of light and rapidly attacked Mo Qingyun. Seeing the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman rapidly approaching him, Mo Qingyun's face darkened, and he swung his scorching halberd towards the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman. Clang! As the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman and the scorching halberd collided, the two completely different forces, one cold and one hot, instantly collided. Then, a wave of ice and fire energy exploded from the tip of the scorching halberd, forming a red and white light. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's forward steps were blocked, and he was unable to move forward. Then, Mo Qingyun held the scorching halberd in his hand and entered a stalemate with the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman. However, this stalemate did not last long, and the flames on the scorching halberd gradually extinguished. As the flames on the scorching halberd were extinguished, a layer of frost began to appear on it, emitting a terrifying chill. Soon, this layer of frost spread from the scorching halberd to Mo Qingyun's body. Soon, a layer of frost condensed on Mo Qingyun's body, turning him into an ice sculpture. Chapter 606. Looking at Mo Qingyun's current state, Fong Peng and the rest tensed up, and their faces were filled with worry. Mo Qingyun was actually frozen by the Ice Sword Heart Piercing Talisman. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun would be at Tang Yu's mercy. This was not a good thing. The 10th young sect master is frozen. What should we do now? Will the 10th young sect master be in danger? 10th young sect master, if you die, I will die with you. Senior sister, all right, the 10th young sect master died to save me. If he dies, I will die with him. At this moment, all the women's faces were filled with determination, as though they were willing to live and die with their master. Oh no, Qing Yun is frozen by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman's cold air. This is going to be troublesome. Looking at Mo, Qing Yun's current state, Fong Peng and the rest were filled with worry. They were like ants on a hot pan, extremely anxious. Right now, Mo Qing Yun and Mo Qing Yun were fighting in an isolated array. Even if they wanted to help, they could not. How could this kid be so careless? He was actually frozen by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman. Looks like I have to help. Looking at Mo Qing Yun's state, Elder Tan's face was filled with panic. He was prepared to help Mo Qing Yun. However, just as Elder Tan was about to help, his expression suddenly changed, and he said in shock, "No, this kid's aura is stable. It seems like he is not injured by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman. Did I miss something? Senior brother Mo, junior brother Mo is frozen. What should we do now?" Looking at Mo Qing Yun's state, Hejilan, Zhang Wei, and the rest were filled with anxiety as they looked at Mo Qing Yun. I don't know either. I believe that junior brother Mo will have a way. Hearing the words of the girls beside him, Mo Qing replied with a solemn expression. With a determined look, he said, "Junior brother Mo, he has created countless miracles. I don't believe that a mere 7-seal talisman can stump him. Yes, junior brother Mo has created countless miracles. He must have a way." Hearing Mo Qing's words, Hejilan and the rest's faces were filled with determination. Inside the array, just as everyone was worrying about Mo Qing Yun, a layer of water suddenly appeared around Mo Qing Yun's body. This was the perfect water profound. With the appearance of this perfect water ultimacy, the frost on Mo Qing Yun's body began to melt rapidly. In just a short while, the ice that had sealed Mo Qing Yun completely melted. After dissolving the layer of ice on his body, Mo Qing Yun did not hesitate at all. He immediately waved his blazing halberd to destroy the heart-piercing ice sword talisman. It feels so good. After destroying the ice sword heart-piercing talisman, Mo Qing Yun looked as if he hadn't had enough yet. He said happily, "I didn't expect that refining the ice power of the ice sword heart-piercing talisman could improve my water power Upanishad. It would be great if I could get more. So satisfying." No one knew what Mo Qing Yun was thinking. When they heard Mo Qing Yun's words, they were immediately stunned. Not only was Mo Qing Yun not injured after being sealed by the ice sword heart-piercing talisman, he even said that it felt so good. What was going on? At this moment, everyone felt that their brains were not enough to process the situation. Mo Qing Yun's current performance was beyond their expectations. It's great that the 10th young sect master is fine. Seeing that Mo Qing Yun was safe and sound, the girls were immediately overjoyed and excitedly chattered. Did I hear wrongly? After being stunned for a short while, Fong Peng smiled bitterly and shook his head. He said gloomily, "Qing Yun, that little guy, did he just say that it felt so good?" That seems to be the case. When the elders heard this, they were all dumbfounded. They said in a daze, "Sect Master, do you think Qing Yun's brain is frozen?" Hearing the elders' words, Fong Peng was immediately stunned. After a moment of silence, he said, "It doesn't matter if his brain is damaged as long as he is fine." Haha, I knew that this kid would be fine. He did not disappoint my usual teachings. Seeing that Mo Qing Yun was fine, Elder Tan revealed a brilliant smile and immediately said some words of excitement. Hearing Elder Tan's words, everyone was speechless. Did he really teach Mo Qing Yun? Compared to the joy of Fong Peng and the others, Tang Yu's mood was much worse. The ice sword heart-piercing talisman that he relied on was actually useless against Mo Qing Yun. In this case, how could he fight against Mo Qing Yun? When he thought of this, panic appeared on Tang Yu's face. A strong sense of uneasiness rose in his heart. Was he really going to follow in the footsteps of Tang Yong and the others? Humph! This kid must be bluffing. He was eroded by the ice power of the ice sword heart-piercing talisman. It is impossible for him to be unharmed. After forcibly comforting himself, Tang Yu's face looked much better. His expression became gloomier as he said to Mo Qing Yun, "Humph! Kid, you don't have to bluff. It's impossible to scare me with this. Bluff? Hearing Tang Yu's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly with a hint of anticipation. He said, "If you don't believe me, you could try activating another ice sword heart-piercing talisman. See if I'm bluffing." "Humph. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu did not hesitate and immediately took out another ice sword heart-piercing talisman. Once this ice sword heart-piercing talisman was taken out, Tang Yu immediately activated it and attacked Mo Qingyun with extreme speed. Good timing. Seeing another ice sword heart-piercing talisman coming towards him, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised. He immediately waved the scorching halberd and stabbed it out. Clang! Then, the scorching halberd collided with the ice sword heart-piercing talisman, and a stalemate was formed. Following this stalemate, the scene from before appeared again. Mo Qingyun's body was once again covered in a layer of frost. However, this time, Mo Qingyun did not allow the frost to spread to his body and freeze his entire body. At this moment, when the ice power spread to Mo Qingyun's body, Mo Qingyun began to refine it. As Mo Qingyun refined the ice power, his understanding of the water ultimacy immediately increased rapidly. At the same time, the chill on Mo Qingyun's body became stronger rapidly. After this discovery, Tang Yu's face immediately twitched. He looked at Mo Qingyun in horror and said, You're using my ice sword heart-piercing talisman to cultivate and improve your understanding of the ice power?" At this moment, Tang Yu was really frightened by his own guess. If this was true, Mo Qingyun was too terrifying. "You actually found out." Chapter 607. Don't stop, come again. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu's face immediately twitched. He looked at Mo Qingyun as if he was looking at a monster. What kind of freak was this, to be able to borrow another person's killing move to cultivate himself while fighting? This could no longer be described as a monster. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to describe him as a madman. You're a madman." At this moment, Tang Yu's expression turned into that of a madman. It couldn't be helped. Mo Qingyun's actions earlier had indeed frightened him. What a pity. Just a little bit more, and my water ultimacy would have been able to advance to the power of water. Seeing Tang Yu's reaction, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of pity and sighed. Now it seems that I can't let Tang Yu use the ice sword heart-piercing talisman to help me comprehend the power of water. Looks like I'll have to find another opportunity in the future. With that thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He immediately charged towards Tang Yu with the scorching halberd in his hand. Since Tang Yu would not help him cultivate, there was no point in keeping him alive. He might as well get rid of him as soon as possible. As Mo Qingyun charged towards Tang Yu, Fong Peng and the others outside the array formation were stunned and stood rooted to the ground with wide eyes. "Sect leader, did I hear wrongly? Did Tang Yu just say that the 10th young sect leader is using the ice sword heart-piercing talisman to cultivate?" At this moment, an elder looked at Fong Peng in shock. He wanted to get an answer from Fong Peng. "You didn't hear wrongly." Hearing the elder's words, Fong Peng's face was also filled with shock. He smiled bitterly and said, "With Qingyun's talent, I'm afraid that in the history of the path of immortality, there won't be more than 3 people like him." What kind of monster is this kid? At this moment, even with Elder Tan's mental state, he was quite frightened by Mo Qingyun's actions. He exclaimed, "Borrowing the power of other people's talismans to cultivate. This method is really too frightening." Gulp. Junior brother Mo is so scary. Mo Qingyun and the rest were terrified. They unconsciously swallowed their saliva and looked at Mo Qingyun with respect. Inside the array, while Elder Tan and the rest were still in shock, Mo Qingyun's halberd had already reached Tang Yu. "Mo Qingyun, don't kill me." Looking at the gleaming halberd blade, Tang Yu's face immediately turned pale. He begged Mo Qingyun for mercy. "Killing me won't do you any good. As long as you don't kill me, I can recognize you as my master. A Seven Seals sect's young sect leader as your servant should still be useful. You think too highly of yourself. Even if you're the sect master of the Seven Seals sect, you're not qualified to be my slave. With regard to Tang Yu's pleas for mercy, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore them. Without hesitation, he stabbed his halberd into Tang Yu's left shoulder. Crack! As the halberd pierced through Tang Yu's left shoulder, a crisp sound immediately rang out. Ah! After his left shoulder was pierced, Tang Yu immediately felt an intense pain. He couldn't help but let out a blood-curdling scream. Immediately after, Tang Yu revealed a sinister expression and roared at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun, I'm the young sect leader of the Broken Sword Symbol sect. If you kill me, you'll bring disaster to the Maofu sect. Thank you for your consideration. However, Mo Qingyun, don't put a small Seven Seals sect in my eyes. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he twisted his wrist. The blazing halberd spun and directly chopped off Tang Yu's left arm. He said coldly, "This halberd is for Elder Su." Immediately, blood gushed out from Tang Yu's left arm. In an instant, his clothes were dyed red. After chopping off Tang Yu's arm, Mo Qingyun didn't slow down. He swung his halberd at Tang Yu again. When he saw Mo Qingyun swinging his halberd at him, Tang Yu quickly retreated. He wanted to dodge Mo Qingyun's halberd. However, his speed couldn't be compared to Mo Qingyun's. In an instant, Mo Qingyun caught up to him. Bird of prey break. Gravity suppression. Mo Qingyun attacked from two angles. He immediately cut off Tang Yu's opportunity to escape. He swung his blazing halberd at Tang Yu's right arm. Mo Qingyun don't. When Mo Qingyun saw that Tang Yu was going to use the same method he used on Tang Yang to kill him, Tang Yu immediately panicked. Crack! However, Mo Qingyun chose to ignore Tang Yu's pleas. He didn't hesitate to stab the blazing halberd into Tang Yu's right arm. Then, a bloody mist burst out from Tang Yu's right arm. His right arm had been cut off by Mo Qingyun. After cutting off Tang Yu's right arm, Mo Qingyun turned around and swung his blazing halberd at Tang Yu. Bang! With a sweep of Mo Qingyun's blazing halberd, the blazing halberd drew an arc of scarlet light and viciously struck Tang Yu's back. Then, Tang Yu's body was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's blazing halberd. After sending Tang Yu flying, Mo Qingyun's body flashed and followed closely behind Tang Yu. Bang! Mo Qingyun quickly arrived beside Tang Yu. He lifted his foot and stomped on Tang Yu's head, pressing it into the ground. He coldly said, "What's the smell on the bottom of my shoe?" "You." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Tang Yu's face immediately twitched. He felt an intense sense of humiliation. Previously, he had wanted to deal with Mo Qingyun, but now, Mo Qingyun had used all of his methods on him. This drastic contrast immediately gave him the urge to die. Mo Qingyun, you've gone too far. When he thought of this, Tang Yu's face darkened. His expression turned sinister as he gnashed his teeth and said, Mo Qingyun, you forced me to do this. Since that's the case, let's die together. Blood Rune Sword Seal. As Tang Yu's words fell, he spat out a mouthful of blood, which rapidly formed into a blood sword. The moment the blood sword appeared, it emitted a cold and sinister aura as it swiftly attacked Mo Qingyun's body. Shit, that's the Blood Rune Sword Seal. When he saw Tang Yu's move, Elder Tan's expression immediately changed. A sliver of panic flashed across his eyes as he hurriedly shouted at Mo Qingyun. Qingyun, be careful. Don't let the Blood Rune Sword Seal hit you. As Mo Qingyun and Tang Yu were too close to each other, although Elder Tan had immediately warned him, he was still a little too slow. When the Blood Rune Sword Seal hit Mo Qingyun, it pierced through his skin and entered his arm. When the Blood Rune Sword Seal entered Mo Qingyun's body, it turned into a stream of blood and merged with Mo Qingyun's blood. Haha, Mo Qingyun, you're finished. When he saw the Blood Rune Sword Seal pierce into Mo Qingyun's body, Tang Yu revealed a sinister smile as he laughed out loud. This Blood Rune Sword Seal is the Sword Rune Sect's blood seal. Anyone who is attacked by the Blood Rune Sword Seal will be hunted by the Sword Rune Sect endlessly. Just wait for the Sword Rune Sect's endless hunt, huh? Cough, cough, cough. When Tang Yu's words fell, the aura on his body rapidly weakened. Soon, the aura on Tang Yu's body completely disappeared. Chapter 608. Blood Talisman Sword Seal. Mo Qingyun frowned when he heard Tang Yu's words. He didn't expect there to be such a thing. All right, the Blood Talisman Sword Seal came from the Sword Talisman Sect. Master should have a way to neutralize it. Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he thought about the Sword Talisman Sect. He walked towards Elder Tan with a faint smile on his face. Before leaving, Mo Qingyun didn't forget to put away Tang Yu and the others' Chinquan bags into his own bag. When Elder Tan saw Mo Qingyun walking towards him, he didn't wait for Mo Qingyun to speak and said with a solemn expression, "Qingyun, come with me for a moment." Elder Tan walked out of the immortal Zhong courtyard after he finished speaking. Mo Qingyun didn't say anything and quickly followed behind Elder Tan. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, Elder Tan's expression should be related to the Blood Talisman Sword Seal. Fong Peng and the others were stunned when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They were a little surprised by Mo Qingyun's actions. However, after being stunned for a moment, Fong Peng and the others didn't ask any questions and withdrew their gazes from Mo Qingyun's group. Since the matter with the Broken Sword Talisman Sect has been settled, everyone can disperse. Fong Peng had a solemn expression as he waved his hand at everyone. His expression became even more solemn as he said, "Regarding Tang Yu and the others from the Broken Sword Talisman Sect, all of you must keep your mouths shut. Otherwise, not only will it bring harm to all of you in the Mao Talisman Sect, but it will also implicate Qin Yun who saved all of you." Everyone's expression turned solemn when they heard Fong Peng's words. Their eyes were filled with determination. "Sect Master, don't worry. Even if I die, I won't reveal this matter." That's right. The 10th Young Sect Master didn't hesitate to offend the 7 Seal Sect, the Broken Sword Talisman Sect, in order to save us. How can we betray him? I, Sung Yi, swear that if I reveal a single word about today's matter, I will be struck by lightning from the 9 heavens. I, Li Wan, also swear. All of a sudden, all of the women revealed resolute expressions and expressed their determination. Seeing the actions of the girls, Fong Peng revealed a satisfied expression. These people were not ungrateful people. All right, all of you were injured before. Go back and recuperate. Next, Fong Peng explained a few more things to the girls. Then, he waved his hand at them, indicating that they should go back and recuperate. While Fong Peng was instructing the female disciples, Mo Qingyun and Elder Tan returned to the small courtyard. "Qingyun, come with me." Returning to the small courtyard, Elder Tan's expression was solemn as he quickly walked into the room. Seeing Elder Tan's expression, Mo Qingyun's expression also turned serious, and he hurriedly followed him into the room. "Stretch out your right hand." Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the room, Elder Tan didn't say much to Mo Qingyun. Instead, he directly instructed Mo Qingyun. All right, hearing Elder Tan's words, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much either and immediately stretched out his right hand. Seeing Mo Qingyun extend his right hand, Elder Tan's hand swiftly formed seals, forming a bizarre hand seal. The shape of this hand seal looked a little like a silk banner. Following the completion of this silk banner hand seal, Elder Tan's expression turned solemn, and he slapped it into Mo Qingyun's palm. Following this silk banner hand seal, entering Mo Qingyun's palm, Mo Qingyun immediately felt that the Blood Talisman Sword Seal suffered a suppression. At this moment, after Elder Tan condensed this imprint, his complexion clearly paled a little. Not only that, Mo Qingyun even sensed a thick aura of death from Elder Tan's body. At this moment, Elder Tan was like a person with half a foot in a coffin in a half-alive, half-dead state, waiting for death. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. With a shocked expression, he said, Master condensed that silk banner hand seal just now. Don't tell me it consumed your lifespan? Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun looked at Elder Tan's eyes and immediately revealed a strong sense of emotion. Seeing Elder Tan's pale complexion, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately became anxious. He asked Elder Tan with concern, "Master, are you all right? Your lifespan?" "I'm fine." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan revealed a faint smile. He waved his hand at Mo Qingyun and said, "When I condensed this heaven-shrouding flag seal just now, it affected a seal in my body, causing my lifespan to become somewhat unstable. After I adjust my breathing, I'll be fine." Hearing Elder Tan's words, the expression on Mo Qingyun's face relaxed a little. "Qingyun, this heaven-shrouding flag seal can only suppress the blood talisman sword seal in your body for 10 days. It should be able to last until the end of the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering." Elder Tan's expression was solemn as he instructed Mo Qingyun. He continued, "Therefore, in this 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, you must enter the top 1,000 and enter the top 10 sections. As long as you enter the top 10 sects, even the Sword Talisman sect will dare to openly touch you. Master, please don't worry. I will definitely pass the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering and enter the top 10 sections." Hearing Elder Tan's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn as he replied, "Good." Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression, Elder Tan nodded his head in satisfaction and sighed. "If I was in my peak condition, I wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. I can directly dissolve the Blood Talisman Sword Seal for you, but now Master, don't worry about it. I will definitely enter the top 10 sections." Hearing Elder Tan's words, Mo Qingyun was slightly touched. He comforted Elder Tan and said, "Besides, I'm going to participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering anyway. Won't this be killing two birds with one stone? It's great that you can think this way." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Elder Tan let out a relieved smile. He took out a scroll and handed it to Mo Qingyun. "Qingyun, this is the sect leader's keepsake of the Weapon Talisman sect, the Atavistic Weapon Talisman Manual. I will now pass it to you." The sect leader's keepsake of the Weapon Talisman sect, the Atavistic Weapon Talisman Manual. Seeing the scroll handed over by Elder Tan, Mo Qingyun's face was instantly filled with astonishment. His expression turned solemn as he said, "Master, this Atavistic Weapon Talisman Manual is the keepsake of the Weapon Talisman sect leader. It's too precious. Please reconsider. Master has already made up his mind. Don't try to persuade me." At this moment, without waiting for Mo Qingyun to finish speaking, Elder Tan interrupted him and said in a deep voice, "Besides, this atavistic weapon talisman manual is now empty. There is no weapon talisman true body in it. Hence, it no longer possesses its original value." After hearing Elder Tan's words, Mo Qingyun looked at the atavistic weapon talisman manual, only to discover that the talisman slots on the atavistic weapon talisman manual were all empty. From the looks of it, the weapon talisman true body in this atavistic weapon talisman manual had indeed been lost. Although this atavistic weapon talisman manual has lost the weapon talisman true body, if you refine this atavistic weapon talisman manual, it can help you find the weapon talisman true body. Chapter 609. Don't worry, Master. I won't let you down. I'll definitely bring the artifact talisman sect back to its former glory. Mo Qingyun put away the primordial artifact talisman manual with a solemn expression as he spoke resolutely to Elder Tan. Good. Elder Tan revealed a gratified smile when he saw Mo Qingyun's attitude and repeatedly said good. It seemed like he was extremely satisfied with Mo Qingyun's attitude. Subsequently, Elder Tan gave Mo Qingyun a few more instructions before waving his hand at Mo Qingyun. "You can leave first. I need to recuperate. This old man still wants to live for a few more days." Disciple will take his leave. Mo Qingyun nodded when he heard Elder Tan's words and left Elder Tan's room. After leaving Elder Tan's residence, Mo Qingyun directly returned to his room. I wonder if there's anything useful in Shi Huangtian, Tang Yu, and the others' Cosmos pouches. After returning to his room, Mo Qingyun took out Shi Huangtian, Tang Yu, and the others' Cosmos pouches and began to look through them one by one. After opening Shi Huangtian and the others' talismans, a dazzling array of items appeared before Mo Qingyun's eyes. 700-year-old blood soul fluorescent flower, 500-year-old corpse, soul, nourishing grass. Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression when he saw these items before him. These were all materials for refining pills that increase soul force. With these materials, I can refine the glazed light soul pill. After organizing the ingredients in front of him, Mo Qingyun revealed a trace of anticipation. He thought to himself, when I refine the glazed soul pill, I'll be able to use it to break through to the mid-stage of the sky spirit realm. After organizing the materials before him and carefully placing them into a cosmos pouch, Mo Qingyun placed the remaining items into a cosmos pouch. The remaining items were some talismans for dispelling corpses and various materials for refining corpses. These things were not of much use to Mo Qingyun, so he did not take them to heart. These things, it's better to find a time to get rid of them all and convert them into soul essence stones. Mo Qingyun threw the messy items into a chinquin bag. After pondering for a moment, he made a plan in his heart. The collection in Shi Huangtian's Cosmos sacks is already so abundant. Tang Yu's Cosmos sacks should be even better, right? After checking Shi Huangtian and the others' Cosmos pouches, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of anticipation as he started to open Tang Yu and the others' Cosmos pouches. As far as Mo Qingyun was concerned, Tang Yu and the others had a higher status than Shi Huangtian and the others, so their collection should be better. As Mo Qingyun opened Tang Yu and the others' chinquin bags, sword talismans appeared before his eyes. The grades of these sword talismans were not low. The worst of them was at the 5th seal grade, and most of them were at the 6th seal grade. Amongst them, the 3 talismans in Tang Yu's Cosmos sack had even reached the 7th seal grade, and they were the Ice Sword Heart Piercing talismans that he'd activated earlier. 3 7 seal talismans, Ice Sword Heart Piercing talismans. Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a look of delight when he saw the 3 Ice Sword Heart Piercing talismans before him, and he secretly rejoiced. With these 3 Ice Sword Heart Piercing talismans, I could be considered to have some trump cards when I fight others in the future. After putting away the 3 Ice Sword Heart Piercing talismans, Mo Qingyun continued to check Tang Yu and the others' chinquin bags to see if there were any other precious items. After checking for a while, a shabby map attracted Mo Qingyun's attention. After he took out the map, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a puzzled expression and said, this map seems slightly familiar. I seem to have seen it somewhere before. Right, it's the map I obtained from Shi Jia. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun immediately revealed a look of surprise and immediately took out the map he'd obtained from Shi Jia. After taking out the other map, Mo Qingyun pieced the 2 maps together to form a complete map. Myriad World Mountain, Demon Sonar Valley. After piecing the 2 maps together, Mo Qingyun found out the location described on the map. It turned out to be a place called Demon Sonar Valley in Myriad World Mountain. It seems that if I want to know the secret of this map, I have to enter Myriad World Mountain first. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun put away the 2 maps, and a trace of curiosity and anticipation appeared on his face. Next, Mo Qingyun checked Tang Yu and the others' chinquin bags. However, the remaining items in their chinquin bags were not of much use to Mo Qingyun. Following this, Mo Qingyun placed the remaining items into a chinquin bag so that he could dispose of them in the future. Now, there are 2 more days before we set off for Myriad World Mountain. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment in his heart and silently planned. He frowned and said, I could take advantage of this period of time to refine the immemorial artifact talisman manual. At that time, if I encounter the true bodies of various artifact talismans, I will be able to immediately sense them. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately started to refine the immemorial weapon rune. The immemorial weapon rune was not a magic treasure. It was equivalent to a storage bag that stored the weapon talisman real body. Hence, it was not difficult to refine it. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous refining, the immemorial weapon rune was finally refined by him. Swoosh! Once the immemorial weapon rune was refined by Mo Qingyun, it turned into a streamer and was directly absorbed into Mo Qingyun's body. It seems that this immemorial weapon rune is not simple. Looking at the immemorial weapon rune being absorbed into his body, Mo Qingyun's face was a little surprised. He was a little surprised by the scene in front of him. From what he knew, even a spiritual weapon-level weapon could not be absorbed into one's body. In that case, the immemorial weapon rune was at least a spiritual weapon level. After absorbing the immemorial weapon rune into his body, Mo Qingyun realized that there seemed to be an inexplicable connection between him and the immemorial weapon rune. Since the immemorial weapon rune has been refined, it's time to set off for Myriad World Mountain. Seeing that the immemorial weapon rune had been refined, Mo Qingyun did not intend to hesitate and was ready to set off for Myriad World Mountain. Then, Mo Qingyun opened the door and walked out of the house. At that moment, when Mo Qingyun walked out of the room, Fong Peng and the rest walked into the courtyard. Qingyun, you came out just in time. We were about to call you to set off for Myriad World Mountain. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had walked out of the room, Fong Peng greeted Mo Qingyun with a faint smile and said, "In order to prevent the surrounding sects from harming the Mao Fu sect, I will not follow you to Myriad World Mountain. I will let the Supreme Elder follow you. Other sects are going to invade the Mao Fu sect." Chapter 610. You want to set up a formation? Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng and the others were overjoyed and excited. They were well aware of Mo Qingyun's attainments and formations. If Mo Qingyun set up a protective formation for the Thatched Talisman sect, they wouldn't have to worry about the sect's defense anymore. After a moment of surprise, Fong Peng's expression turned grave. He asked worriedly, "Qingyun, setting up a protective formation will take a long time. Will it delay your journey to Myriad World Mountain?" "Sect Master, don't worry. It won't take long." Upon hearing Fong Peng's words, Mo Qingyun waved his hand and smiled faintly. "I won't set up a formation that will cover the entire Thatched Talisman sect. I will only set up a defensive formation in a region of the sect." "Set up a defensive formation in a region?" Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng and the others were stunned. They didn't understand what Mo Qingyun meant. That's right. Upon seeing Fong Peng's puzzled expression, Mo Qingyun put on a solemn expression and said in a deep voice, "In that case, not only can I save time, but I can also raise the power of the formation to the maximum." "I see." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Fong Peng and the others understood what Mo Qingyun meant. Upon seeing that Fong Peng and the others understood what he meant, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He said to Fong Peng, "Sect Master, please choose a region. Let me set up the formation." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng pondered for a moment before saying, "Since that's the case, set up a defensive formation around the Thatched Talisman sect's conference hall." "All right." Upon hearing Fong Peng's words, Mo Qingyun nodded. With a solemn expression, he said, "Sect Master, setting up a protective formation requires a lot of materials. I don't have enough on me right now. I might need to go to the sect's secret vault to pick some." "That's only natural. How can I let you lay out the materials for the sect's great protective formation?" Fong Peng agreed without any hesitation when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He walked over and said to Mo Qingyun, "Qingyun, come with me. I'll take you to the sect's treasury." "Sect leader, please." Hearing Fong Peng's words, Mo Qingyun made an inviting gesture and followed Fong Peng to the sect's secret storehouse. A short while later, Mo Qingyun and the others arrived outside the sect's secret storehouse. Since the sect's secret treasury
was an important place of the Mao Fu sect. Ordinary people weren't allowed to enter under normal circumstances. Therefore, Mo Qingyun and the rest who came with Mo Qingyun were all left outside the sect's secret treasury, waiting for Mo Qingyun to enter and choose the items. The secret storehouse of the Mao Fu sect wasn't very big. One could see the end of it with a single glance, and everything inside could be seen clearly. However, even though the Mao Fu sect's secret treasury wasn't very big, the items inside were clearly categorized and placed together. After looking around the sect's secret treasury, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He transmitted his voice to the 9 temples. 9 temples, come and choose the materials for the formation. Yes, young lord. The 9 temples replied after hearing Mo Qingyun's transmission. They transmitted their voice to Mo Qingyun and instructed him to collect the materials needed for the formation. Just like that, Mo Qingyun spent the rest of the time selecting the materials for the formation. Buzz. At that moment, while Mo Qingyun was selecting the materials for the formation, the immemorial artifact talisman manual that he had refined earlier throbbed. The immemorial artifact talisman manual is reacting. Could it be that there's an immemorial artifact talisman true body here? When he discovered this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed to one of excitement. Following that, Mo Qingyun followed the immemorial artifact talisman manual's guidance and walked towards the sect's secret treasury. Not long after, a pure white jade talisman entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. When he saw this, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and put away the jade talisman. Then, he began to examine the jade talisman. When he held the jade talisman in his hand, a cool and refreshing feeling was transmitted from the jade talisman to Mo Qingyun's hand. As soon as this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun immediately felt that his mind had calmed down a lot. This jade talisman actually has the effect of calming the mind. When he discovered this, Mo Qingyun's face immediately lit up with joy. He became somewhat excited as he thought to himself, I wonder what type of talisman this jade talisman belongs to in the immemorial artifact talisman manual. With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He stood up and walked towards Fong Peng as he said, Sect leader, this jade talisman has some uses for me. Can you get it to me? You want this jade talisman? When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng's expression changed slightly. He was somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's request. Then he smiled faintly and said, This is only a talisman for calming the mind. Since you like it, Qingyun, take it. Thank you, sect leader. When he heard Fong Peng's words, Mo Qingyun did not explain. After all, it was better not to explain such things. Was he going to tell Fong Peng that this jade talisman was extremely precious? If that was the case, how was he going to ask Fong Peng for this jade talisman? After keeping the jade talisman, Mo Qingyun's expression remained calm. He said to Fong Peng in a deep voice, Sect leader, I have already chosen the materials to refine the formation. Let's go out. All right. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng's expression changed. He was pleasantly surprised. In his opinion, since he had already chosen the materials to refine the formation, the only thing left was to set up the formation. Once the formation was set up, the defensive power of the Mao Fu sect would immediately increase by several times. Soon after, Mo Qingyun and the excited Fong Peng walked out of the Mao Fu sect's secret storehouse. After they left the Mao Fu sect's secret storehouse, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all. He immediately began to set up the sect's great defensive formation. Time passed bit by bit as Mo Qingyun set up the formation. A few hours later, Mo Qingyun stopped and revealed a faint smile on his face. He was very satisfied with the results of this round of laying out the formation. He hadn't expected that, as the cultivation of the 9 temples increased, the grade of the formation they set up together would also increase greatly. Qingyun, may I know what this formation is? When he saw Mo Qingyun stop, Fong Peng was pleasantly surprised and expectant. He quickly walked in front of Mo Qingyun. This is a pseudo grade 7 formation,
the Chaos Origin Dipper 7-star formation. Those below the 7th seal will not be able to break it. When he heard Fong Peng's question, Mo Qingyun did not conceal anything and directly answered him. When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, Fong Peng and the others were pleasantly surprised. They were pleasantly surprised by Mo Qingyun's words. Next, Mo Qingyun instructed Fong Peng and the others on how to operate the Chaos Origin Dipper 7-star formation. Roughly 15 minutes later, under Mo Qingyun's detailed guidance, Fong Peng and the others were able to skillfully control the Chaos Origin Dipper 7-star formation. If that's the case, let's set off. Chapter 611. Activate the God's Traveling Ship Talisman. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Supreme Elder took out a boat-shaped talisman and activated it. Under the Supreme Elder's activation, the boat-shaped talisman immediately shone brightly and expanded rapidly. After a while, a talisman wheel that was about the size of a 3-story building appeared in front of everyone. Qingyun, let's go in. After activating the talisman boat, the Supreme Elder smiled kindly at Mo Qingyun and asked Mo Qingyun to enter the talisman boat. Supreme Elder, please. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun made a gesture of invitation to the Grand Elder, and then he followed behind the Grand Elder onto the talisman ship. Then, the rest of the people followed behind Mo Qingyun and the Supreme Elder and entered the talisman boat one after another. After a while, seeing that everyone had entered the talisman boat, the Supreme Elder activated the talisman boat. Under the control of the Supreme Elder, the talisman boat transformed into a streamer and flew out of the Mao Fu sect at an extremely fast speed. It will take about 5 days to travel from the Mao Fu sect to Myriad World Mountain. Everyone, enter the talisman boat and find a room to cultivate. The Supreme Elder activated the talisman boat and moved forward. He smiled faintly at everyone and waved his hand, indicating that everyone should rest. Upon hearing that, Mo Qingyun and the rest did not refuse. They walked into the cabin and entered a room to cultivate. However, when Mo Qingyun and the rest entered the cabin, the few elders remained on the deck of the boat. Looking at their appearance, they probably intended to replace the Supreme Elder later and continue driving the talisman boat forward. After all, driving the talisman boat forward consumed a lot of soul power. It would be too difficult for the Supreme Elder to do it alone. After entering the room in the cabin, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He immediately took out the jade talisman that he had previously obtained and carefully examined it. Once the jade talisman was taken out by Mo Qingyun, it emitted a cool feeling that was transmitted to Mo Qingyun's hand. After that, Mo Qingyun began to examine the jade talisman, carefully observing it in his hand. After examining it, Mo Qingyun discovered that there was a circular mirror pattern engraved in the center of the jade talisman. Mirror. Upon seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly as he pondered. Could it be that the real body of this artifact talisman is a mirror treasure? After thinking about it this way, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately activated the jade talisman. Then, the jade talisman shone brightly, and a mirror shadow appeared from it. As soon as the mirror shadow appeared, it emitted a dazzling light that shone on Mo Qingyun's body. Under the illumination of the mirror, Mo Qingyun's various talents were immediately revealed, and there was no place for him to hide. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's Scarlet Flame Dragon Martial Soul, 5 Elements Spirit Body, and even the Blood Rune Sword Seal in his body were revealed. This jade talisman can detect my talents. What an incredible ability! After discovering this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, and a look of intense shock appeared on her face. Buzz! While Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock, the light door martial spirit vibrated and resisted the mirror shadow. Then, Mo Qingyun discovered that the light gate martial soul gradually concealed itself and avoided the prying of the mirror shadow. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed.
He was shocked and said in surprise, "The light gate martial soul can avoid the prying of the mirror shadow." It seems that the origin of the light gate martial soul is above the mirror shadow. Then, Emo Qingyun studied the jade talisman again, which made him more clear about the origin of the jade talisman. Emo Qingyun was surprised and said, "I didn't expect the ancient real body of this talisman to be the chaos, celestial king's demon revealing mirror." With a clear understanding of the origin of the jade talisman, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and kept the demon revealing mirror talisman into the Archean talisman book. There is still some time before I go to Myriad World Mountain. I can use this time to improve my cultivation. After thinking about this, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and entered Heixian Palace. After entering Heixian Palace, Missouri Qingyun did not delay and immediately took out piles of elemental holy stones and placed them around his body. After doing all this, Emo Qingyun immediately began to cultivate and absorb the elemental power in the surrounding elemental holy stones. As Emo Qingyun absorbed the elemental power in the elemental holy stones, one by one, the elemental holy stones turned into a pile of powder. As the elemental spirit stones turned to dust, Emo Qingyun's aura also rose at a rapid pace. As Emo Qingyun cultivated, time started to trickle away bit by bit. In Heixian Palace, 1 month later, at this moment, Emo Qingyun's aura finally reached its limit. As Emo Qingyun's aura reached its limit, 9 shocking elemental powers flew out from his body. If one were to observe carefully, one would be able to see 9 different colored elemental cores within this wave of elemental energy. Red, yellow, green, blue, gold, black, white, silver, and green Yuan Dan flew out from Emo Qingyun's body and started to change forms. Then, the size of the 9-colored Yuan Dan grew bigger and slowly turned into small palaces. Sensing that the 9-colored Yuan Dan had started to transform into 9 small palaces, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately turned serious. At this moment, he had already reached the crucial moment of breaking through to the Pill Palace realm. Success or failure depended on it. Deal. Emo Qingyun let out a soft cry as he made the final transformation of the 9-colored Yuan Dan and the final shape of the 9-colored palace. Then, red, yellow, green, blue, gold, black, white, silver, and cyan palaces of 9 different colors formed above Emo Qingyun's body. The successful condensation of the 9 palaces meant that Emo Qingyun's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Pill Palace realm. Bang! As Emo Qingyun's cultivation base successfully broke through to the Pill Palace realm, a shocking wave of energy exploded from his body. Under this shock wave, the elemental spirit stones around Emo Qingyun's body were instantly sent flying into the air. I've finally reached the Dan Palace realm. Seeing that his cultivation had broken through to the Pill Palace realm, Emo Qingyun's face immediately revealed a look of surprise and excitement. He could clearly feel that as his cultivation base had broken through to the Pill Palace realm, his strength had instantly increased by more than 100 times. With the current level of my elemental energy, even if I don't use any of my trump cards, I'll still be able to fight against a high-level Pill Palace realm expert. Sensing the surging elemental energy within the 9 palaces, Emo Qingyun made a preliminary estimate of his combat strength. After a short moment of surprise, Emo Qingyun didn't hesitate and continued to cultivate to stabilize his cultivation base. Just like this, time passed quickly as Emo Qingyun cultivated. After an unknown amount of time, Emo Qingyun, who was cultivating, slowly opened his eyes. Peak of the late stage of the Pill Palace realm. Sensing his cultivation progress, Emo Qingyun's face revealed a look of ecstasy as he said, "The 5-element spirit body is indeed different. Once I cultivate at full speed, this cultivation speed is simply too shocking. Alright, now that my cultivation base has broken through to the Pill Palace realm, I could try to open the 5-colored small pagoda." Chapter 612. With this in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately took out the five-colored pagoda. Once the five-colored pagoda was taken out, Mo Qingyun released a wave of yuan energy and sent it into the five-colored pagoda. At this moment, once Mo Qingyun's yuan energy entered the five-colored pagoda, the five-colored pagoda shone brightly. There's finally a reaction. Seeing the five-colored pagoda's reaction, Mo Qingyun's face immediately became wild with joy and excitement. After many attempts, the five-colored pagoda finally reacted. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun's face was filled with joy, a middle-aged shadow emitting a five-colored light appeared in front of him. After 1,000,000 years, someone has finally obtained my inheritance. The middle-aged shadow exclaimed as soon as he appeared. His body exuded an indomitable aura. Facing this middle-aged man's aura, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt like he was standing under a 10,000-foot tall cliff. He couldn't help but feel a sense of worship and reverence. 5. Master of the Five Directions. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with reverence, the 9 temples of the Soul Palace spoke with reverence. Hearing the 9 temples' words, the Master of the Five Directions frowned slightly. He let out a cry of surprise and smiled. So, it's the little 9 temples. I didn't expect you to still be alive and have even found a new master. The 9 temples greets the Master of the Five Directions. Hearing the Master of the Five Directions' words, the 9 temples immediately revealed a look of reverence. They came out of Mo Qingyun's Soul Palace and bowed to the Master of the Five Directions. No need for formalities. I am no longer the Master of the Five Directions. I am just a strand of consciousness. Seeing the 9 temples' actions, the Master of the Five Directions smiled faintly and waved his hand at the 9 temples. Is this the Master of the Five Directions? At this moment, as the two of them were talking in the 9 temples, Mo Qingyun felt a strong sense of shock. He sighed. Just the aura of a will is thousands of times stronger than a supreme. Just how strong was the Master of the Five Directions when he was alive? At this moment, Mo Qingyun was truly shocked by the auras of the Masters of the Five Forces. It was hard to imagine what kind of existences they were when they were alive. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up the Masters of the Five Forces, the Masters of the Five Forces also turned to look at him, their gazes as sharp as blades. Under the gazes of the Masters of the Five Forces, Mo Qingyun immediately felt like he had nowhere to hide. It was as if all of his secrets would be revealed before the Masters of the Five Forces. However, what surprised Mo Qingyun was that the light gate martial soul had once again disappeared under the Masters of the Five Forces probing, evading their senses. Scarlet Flame Heavenly Dragon Martial Soul. 5 elements spiritual body, 9-star heavenly soul demon bloodline. After scanning Mo Qingyun, the Masters of the Five Forces immediately saw through Mo Qingyun's talent, as if he had been exposed by the demon revealing mirror. It seems like, little guy, you must have obtained Tian Chen's inheritance. After examining Mo Qingyun, the Masters of the Five Forces smiled faintly and sighed. Suddenly, their expressions changed, and they exclaimed, "There's a dark star beside the 9 stars. The strength of this little guy's heavenly soul bloodline has actually surpassed Tian Chen's. This is unbelievable." At this moment, under the Masters of the Five Forces probing, the heavenly soul star between Mo Qingyun's eyebrows immediately shone with a dazzling light and appeared one by one. It's been a long time since a heavenly soul demon bloodline has appeared. The Masters of the Five Forces sighed even more emotionally when they saw the dark star between Mo Qingyun's eyebrows. They said, if a heavenly soul demon bloodline were to appear, it would probably shock the entire wasteland continent. It's a pity that Tian Chen and I won't be able to see that day. After muttering to himself, the Masters of the Five Forces looked at Mo Qingyun and smiled faintly. Little guy, you can be said to be fated with me since you've obtained my inheritance. Since that's the case, I'll pass on my cultivation method, the heaven-breaking technique of the Five Forces. With that, the masters of the five forces no longer hesitated. He immediately began to pass on his cultivation method to Mo Qingyun. Afterwards, Mo Qingyun felt a terrifying amount of information surge into his head. When this information surged into Mo Qingyun's head, he immediately felt like his head was about to explode. His consciousness became hazy. All right, I've imprinted the cultivation method of the heaven-breaking technique of the five forces into your head. After an indeterminate amount of time, the master of the five directions words traveled into Mo Qingyun's ears. However, in order to prevent you from being greedy and advancing rashly, I've sealed the five directions heaven-breaking technique. You can only see the cultivation chant after you break through the first layer. Thank you, masters of the five forces. After regaining consciousness, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with awe as he thanked the lords of the five forces. Mo Qingyun knew very well from what had happened earlier. If the masters of the five forces wanted to harm him, he would not be able to resist at all. There's no need to be so polite. The masters of the five forces smiled faintly when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They waved their hands at Mo Qingyun and said, "If you really want to thank me, then protect the five-element clan for me once you return to the Heavenly Soul clan on the Wasteland continent." If I have the chance to go to the Wasteland continent, Qingyun will definitely do his best to protect the Five Elements clan. Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn when he heard the lords of the five forces' instructions. All right. The masters of the five forces nodded with a faint smile. They glanced around the He-Xian Hall and said in surprise, "This seems to be the He-Xian Hall. Has He-Xian died as well?" Masters of the five forces, He-Xian's soul has been heavily injured. He is currently in a state between his consciousness and his soul fragment. Hearing the heads of the five forces' bewildered words, Zhou Gong immediately revealed a respectful expression and responded to them. It seems that in that battle, perhaps none of the 18-star generals survived. The masters of the five forces sighed emotionally when they heard the Nine Temples' words. His expression became much more serious as he said, "Since I've encountered the two of you here before I dissipate, I'll give you a stroke of good fortune." With that, the masters of the five forces raised their hands and directly grabbed the sleeping He-Xian's body. After grabbing He-Xian's body, the masters of the five forces quickly formed hand seals with their hands. As the hand seals formed, they gave off a shocking presence. They were so terrifying that Mo Qingyun's heart trembled. A moment later, the hand seals formed two vortexes of light. The masters of the five forces became serious when they saw that the vortexes of light had formed. They said to the Ninth Temples, immediately enter the samsara vortex. He can help you find your lost soul fragment. Yes, the Nine Temples was pleasantly surprised when they heard this. They quickly entered the samsara vortex. After instructing the Nine Temples, the masters of the five forces raised their hands and threw He-Xian's body into the other samsara vortex. "Little guy, remember your promise to this old man." Chapter 613. The masters of the five forces entered the reincarnation whirlpool and used their remaining strength to maintain the stability of the two reincarnation whirlpools. "Senior, don't worry. I will keep my promise in mind." Hearing what the masters of the five forces said, Mo Qingyun looked solemn and replied to the masters of the five forces. After replying to the masters of the five forces, Mo Qingyun frowned and calculated the time in his heart. He thought to himself, "Calculating the time, it has been close to 1.5 months since I cultivated in He-Xian Palace. I wonder if I have reached Myriad Whirl Mountain?" After thinking about it, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and left He-Xian Palace. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, when Mo Qingyun left He-Xian Palace, the travel charm ship suddenly shook. What's going on?" After discovering this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, revealing a trace of bewilderment. Then, Mo Qingyun walked out of the cabin quickly and came to the side of the Supreme Elder and the rest. "Supreme Elder, what happened?" Coming to the Supreme Elder's side, Mo Qingyun frowned and asked the Supreme Elder,
Qingyun, you are here. Seeing Mo Qingyun come to his side, the Supreme Elder forced a smile and said in a heavy tone, "The aftermath of the fight in front has affected the travel charm ship." The Supreme Elder sighed and said, "I presume a sect has encountered talisman bandits. These talisman bandits are extremely formidable, and there's no lack of talisman bandits that are comparable to the Seven Seal sects. Looks like we have to make a detour. Talisman bandits that are comparable to the Seven Seals sect." Hearing the Supreme Elder's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and he was surprised by the situation. However, after thinking about it for a while, Mo Qingyun felt relieved. Men die for wealth, and birds die for food. Robberies and robberies were very normal in the world of martial arts. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was silent, the Supreme Elder revealed a solemn expression and sighed. During every 10,000 talisman immortal gathering, a large number of talisman bandits would appear. They would hide on the way to the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering and kill sects that are participating in the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering. There's such a thing? After hearing the Great Elder's explanation, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. He was shocked and said, "Are the 10 great sects not going to care about something like this? Are we just going to allow these talisman bandits to block our path and kill us?" Care. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Supreme Elder smiled bitterly and shook his head. In the eyes of the 10 great sects, the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering has already begun on the way to Myriad World Mountain. If they can't even pass this stage, it means that these sects don't even have the right to participate in the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering. After hearing the words of the Supreme Elder, Mo Qingyun was silent, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. From the looks of it, the 10,000 talisman immortal gathering was still very cruel. If one wanted to make a breakthrough, one would have to take a huge risk. Then, the Supreme Elder changed the direction of the Heavens Travel Talisman ship and left the fighting area. As the Heavens Travel Talisman ship left the fighting area, the hull of the Heavens Travel Talisman ship gradually regained its stability. However, not long after, a group of people in ragged clothes with injuries on their bodies flew towards the Heavens Travel Talisman ship. These people weren't weak. One of them was at the peak of the Sixth Seal, while the others were all at the high stage of the Sixth Seal. Even such a group of people had been seriously injured and had to escape. It could be seen how dangerous the journey to Myriad World Mountain was. When they saw these people approaching, the Supreme Elder and the rest's expressions immediately became tense. Fellow talisman friends, our talisman ship encountered the talisman bandits and was destroyed. Can we borrow your talisman ship? When these people came to the front of the Heavens Travel Talisman ship, they bowed politely to the Supreme Elder and the rest and made a request. When the Supreme Elder heard the other party's words, he frowned even more and his face showed that he was in a difficult position. The journey to Myriad World Mountain was filled with all kinds of unknown dangers. To take in a group of people of unknown origins, this was still a little too risky. However, if they didn't take in the other party, the Supreme Elder was worried that the other party would fall out with them and attack them directly. Everyone, now that we're going to the various checkpoints of Myriad World Mountain, there will be talisman bandits at any time. At that moment, when the Supreme Elder was hesitating, the person said, "With your strength, it is very dangerous to travel alone. Why don't you travel with us? This way, we can take care of each other and have an additional guarantee." Supreme Elder, let them board the talisman ship. Looking at the Supreme Elder, who was hesitating, Qingyun smiled faintly at him and signaled him to take them into the talisman ship. All right. When the Supreme Elder heard Mo Qingyun's words, his expression changed. He didn't think much about it and said to Lu Pai and the rest, "Everyone, please board the ship." "Thank you." Seeing that the Supreme Elder was willing to take them in, Lu Pai thanked the Supreme Elder and smiled faintly at Mo Qingyun. "Little brother, you are so young, and yet you are so righteous. I, Lu Pai, really admire you. Thank you for this. You don't have to thank me. Since we are traveling together, we can take care of each other." In response to Lu Pai's gratitude,
Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently and said, "Your injuries are not light. You should enter the cabin to recover first. We will talk about the rest later." "All right." When Lu Pai heard Emo Qingyun's words, he didn't say anything else and walked directly into the cabin. However, when Lu Pai and the rest walked into the cabin, a few of the younger generation disciples within the crowd had their gazes flickering as they scanned He Zhilan's body. When He Zhilan saw the other party's expression, she frowned and a trace of disgust appeared in her eyes. However, due to the other party's identity, He Zhilan didn't immediately reveal it. "Qingyun, these people are of unknown origin. Let them enter the talisman ship." What if, when Lu Pai and the rest walked into the talisman ship, the Supreme Elder's face was filled with worry? "Supreme Elder, you don't have to worry. It's fine if these people are honest. However, if they dare to have evil intentions." When he finished speaking, Emo Qingyun's face revealed a cold smile and continued, "Coincidentally, the devil hasn't eaten for a few days. I don't mind using their corpses to feed my devil." Hiss! When they heard Emo Qingyun's words, the Supreme Elder and the rest trembled and unconsciously sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, they couldn't help but look at Emo Qingyun with reverence in their eyes. At this moment, they suddenly recalled that the young man in front of them wasn't a kind person. At this moment, the Supreme Elder and the rest started to worry for Lu Pai and the rest. Chapter 614. Grand Elder, how much longer until we reach Myriad World Mountain? After Lu Pai and the rest enter the cabin, Emo Qingyun looked ahead and asked the Grand Elder beside him. "Just now, we took a detour. With our current speed, we might reach Myriad World Mountain in 2 days." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the Grand Elder was silent for a while. His expression became serious, and he said, "I hope that in the next 2 days, there won't be any mistakes." 2 more days? When he heard the Grand Elder's words, the anticipation in Emo Qingyun's eyes grew even stronger. In 2 more days, he would be able to participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering and enter Myriad World Mountain. At that time, he would be able to find the Demon Sound Valley and investigate the secrets on the mysterious map. Besides, after he passed the assessment of the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering and entered the top 10 sects, he would not have to worry about the Sword Talisman sect. Next, Emo Qingyun and the Grand Elder talked for a while and walked towards the cabin of the talisman ship. "What are you trying to do?" At that moment, Emo Qingyun had just walked into the cabin when a cold voice entered his ears. It was He Zhilan's voice. Hearing that, Emo Qingyun's expression changed. His face became cold, and he quickly walked towards He Zhilan's room. At that moment, when Emo Qingyun walked towards He Zhilan's room, Emo Qing also walked towards him with a cold face. Then, Emo Qingyun and Emo Qing entered He Zhilan's room together. When Emo Qingyun opened the door, he saw 2 young men with evil smiles. They walked towards He Zhilan step by step and wanted to do something bad to her. These 2 young men were not strangers. They were the people who were with Lu Pai just now. Junior Emo, Senior Emo. Seeing that Emo Qingyun and Emo Qing had arrived, He Zhilan's expression immediately relaxed. She walked towards Emo Qingyun happily. "Senior Zhilan, what happened?" Seeing that He Zhilan had walked to his side, Emo Qingyun's face turned cold as he asked her a question. "Just now, not long after I returned to my room, these 2 people suddenly barged in. Then this is what you saw." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, He Zhilan revealed an aggrieved expression and recounted the events to Emo Qingyun. "Leave the rest to me." Emo Qingyun smiled at He Zhilan beside him before his expression turned cold. He turned his head to look at the 2 of them and coldly said, "Both of you, leave behind an arm each and get out of the Divine Ascension symbol ship." "Leave behind an arm and get out of the talisman boat?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the 2 young men were stunned. They were surprised by Emo Qingyun's words. However, after being stunned for a moment, they revealed mocking expressions. One of the youths, who was wearing a blue crown, glanced at Emo Qingyun disdainfully and said, "Kid, who do you think you are?" Do you think a 5-seal initial stage kid like you is fit to order us around? After this young man spoke, the other young man with a sharp face also revealed a dark and cold smile as he said, Brat, I don't mind telling you that from the moment we boarded the symbol ship, it is no longer up to you to decide. Hearing the words of these two youths, Mo Qingyun's face immediately revealed a brilliant smile as he said, Don't you know that a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring? We took you in. Is this how you repay us? Kid, are you joking? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the youth with a blue crown immediately revealed a mocking expression as he said, After this, we will participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering together. At that time, you and I will become competitors. Do you think that there will still be any friendship between us? That's right. If we get rid of you now, we will have one less competitor at that time. Following the blue crown youth's words, the youth with a sharp face also revealed an evil smile as he said some ungrateful words. Good, very good. So this is the way you treat your benefactors. When he heard the words of these two, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately turned cold as he coldly said, If that's the case, should I also kill the two of you, so that I will have one less competitor at the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering? You overestimate yourself. Do you think that you can fight us? When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the blue crown youth immediately revealed a mocking expression as he mocked Mo Qingyun. However, before he could finish his words, he saw Mo Qingyun's figure flash and appear in front of him. Soon after, he sensed an aura that was comparable to the 5th seal advanced level pouncing towards him. Yuan power. When they felt the aura coming towards them, the expressions of these two changed as fear was revealed on their faces. Junior Mo's cultivation seems to have increased. When Mo Qingyun made his move, the duo's expressions changed as they were shocked by the aura emitted from Mo Qingyun's body. The two of them were only at the 5-seal advanced stage. How could they block Mo Qingyun's attack when Mo Qingyun got close to them? Crack! At this moment, while the crowd was still in shock, Mo Qingyun made his move. The crisp sound of bones breaking rang out from the shoulder of the blue crown youth. The blue crown youth immediately let out a blood-curdling scream as a shoulder bone was crushed by Mo Qingyun. With a ferocious expression, he roared at Mo Qingyun, Little bastard, if you dare to touch me, my third uncle will definitely kill you. Kid, stop right now. Otherwise, Elder Lu will definitely kill all of you and hang your corpses on the sails of the ship. When he saw Mo Qingyun's actions, the youth with a sharp face revealed a dark expression as he shouted at Mo Qingyun, Kill all of us? Hang us on the sails of the ship. When he heard their words, Mo Qingyun's expression became even colder. He immediately increased the strength in his hand and crushed the blue crown youth's arm. Then, Mo Qingyun struck the top of the youth's head with his palm, sending a force into his consciousness. Poof! After Mo Qingyun's attack, the blue crown youth's aura immediately weakened rapidly. In a short while, the blue crown youth's aura was no different from an ordinary person's. Mo Qingyun had destroyed his seal, just like destroying a martial artist's dantian. He had become a cripple. You destroyed my talisman. When he realized that his seal had been destroyed, the blue crown youth's face was filled with shock as he stared at Mo Qingyun in a daze. He really hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun would act so decisively, crippling him just like that. There was no sign of him attacking at all. Kid, you're finished. You're in big trouble. When he saw that Mo Qingyun had destroyed the blue crown youth, the youth with a sharp face immediately became gloomy. He said angrily to Mo Qingyun, Lu Shan is Elder Lu Pai's nephew. Since you destroyed him, Elder Lu Pai will definitely not let you off. Wait for Elder Lu Pai's anger. Chapter 615. Tried to escape? A cold smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face when he saw the young man's actions. His figure flashed as he chased after him. Mo Qingyun's body moved. He unleashed his complete wind ultimacy without holding back. With the support of the wind ultimacy,
Mo Qingyun's speed instantly increased to the maximum. In a few flashes, he caught up with the young man. So fast, seeing Mo Qingyun's body turn into an afterimage and arrive beside him. The young man's face immediately twitched. Looking at the frightened young man, Mo Qingyun smiled coldly and said, "Since I've already crippled one, it doesn't matter if I cripple one more. You'd better go accompany Lu Shan." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he raised his hand and grabbed at the young man. A shocking yuan power exploded from his hand. Once the yuan power exploded, it turned into a scarlet-green eagle claw that emitted the shocking fire ultimacy and wind ultimacy. With the support of the wind ultimacy, the speed of the yuan power eagle claw was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it pinched the young man's shoulder. Yuan power, who are you?" Seeing the yuan power eagle claw pinching his shoulder, the young man's face immediately twitched and revealed a terrified expression. A kid who was only at the beginner level of the 5th seal stage actually had a yuan power cultivation that was comparable to the advanced level of the 5th seal stage. This situation was too strange. One had to know that this was the path of immortality and not the path of mortals. "You don't have the right to know who I am." In response to the young man's words, Mo Qingyun coldly replied and controlled the yuan power eagle claw to pinch down. Crack! Under the pressure of the yuan power eagle claw, a crisp sound immediately came from the young man's shoulder. Under Mo Qingyun's claw, the bones in his shoulder were crushed. After crushing the youth's shoulder, Mo Qingyun's hand movements did not slow down as he pulled at the yuan power eagle claw. Then, Mo Qingyun grabbed the scarred young man and brought him in front of him. He looked at Mo Qingyun in horror and said in panic, "What do you want? One of my arms is already crippled. If you let me go now, I will immediately leave the Divine Travel Talisman ship." "Let you go?" Hearing the other party's words, Mo Qingyun smiled coldly. He raised his hand and slapped the other party's head. He said coldly, "It's too late for you to say that you want to leave now." Then, a terrifying force exploded from Mo Qingyun's palm and blasted into the young man's mind. Puff! After being hit by Mo Qingyun's palm, the young man's face immediately turned pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura rapidly weakened. Not long after, the young man's aura was no different from an ordinary person's. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, his talisman seal had also been destroyed. Bang! After crippling the youth with the scarred face with a single palm strike, Mo Qingyun threw him out of the room and said, "I'll give you a chance. Go and report this to Lu Pai. Senior Mo, Senior Zhilan, let's go out and wait for them." After saying this to the scarred young man, Mo Qingyun no longer paid any attention to him. He lifted Lu Shan and walked out of the room. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the other two did not hesitate and followed Mo Qingyun out of the room. Not long after, Mo Qingyun and the other two arrived at the deck of the ship. After arriving at the deck, Mo Qingyun leaped and hung Lu Shan on the sail. "Qingyun, what are you?" Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the Grand Elder and the others' expressions immediately twitched as they questioned Mo Qingyun. At this moment, when the Grand Elder and the others questioned Mo Qingyun, he had already guessed the reason. "Since they want to take over the nest, I have no choice but to get rid of them." Hearing the Grand Elder's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly, as if he was talking about something very normal. "Little bastard, put me down. I'm going to tear you into pieces." At this moment, when Mo Qingyun was talking, Lu Shan's expression was ferocious as he roared at Mo Qingyun. Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, when Lu Shan was roaring, Lu Pai and the others walked out with gloomy expressions. "Shaner, how are you?" As soon as they reached the deck, Lu Pai rescued Lu Shan from the sail. Then, he looked at Mo Qingyun with a dark expression and said coldly, "My nephew admires this girl and wants to marry her. Don't you think you've gone too far? I'm going overboard?" Hearing Lu Pai's words, Mo Qingyun had a mocking expression as he looked at him with disdain and said, "If a wild dog like you wants to marry your mother, does your mother have to agree? Or are you just a F*** king dog? You're a F*** king dog.
Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Grand Elder and the others' expressions changed as they looked at Mo Qingyun with strange expressions. They really didn't think that Mo Qingyun's ability to scold people would be so good. Impudent. Kid, it seems that we've been too good to you, to the point that you can't even recognize your own status. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expression of a sixth seal intermediate elder beside Lu Pai darkened as he said coldly, "We're willing to travel with you and promise to protect you on the way. Since you don't know what's good for you, it seems that we'll have to teach you a lesson." Hearing this elder's words, Mo Qingyun's gaze towards them immediately became even more disdainful. No one could be as shameless as a person to this extent. Looking at Lu Pai and the others with disdain, Mo Qingyun laughed loudly and said mockingly, "I've seen many shameless people, but it's the first time I've seen people like you who don't even have a face. No wonder your words are so smelly. It turns out that your buttocks are growing on your heads." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Grand Elder was once again stunned as he looked at Mo Qingyun with admiration. After insulting the other party, Mo Qingyun's expression became even more disdainful as he said, "Since traveling with us has made you feel so wronged, then you can all scram now." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Pai's face revealed a sneer as a murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he said mockingly, "Kid, it seems that you haven't figured out the situation. Right now, on this Divine Ascension ship, it's not up to you to decide. Fellow elders, there's no need to waste words with them. Immediately deal with them." After replying to Mo Qingyun, Lu Pai's expression turned cold as he instructed the people beside him. He turned his head towards Mo Qingyun and said, "Kid, this old man originally quite admired you and decided to accept you into my Ghost Talisman sect. It's a pity that you didn't grasp this opportunity. You'd better shut your buttocks and stop spewing out your foul breath." After hearing Lu Pai's words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disgust as he spoke in an impatient tone. "You're courting death." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Pai's expression immediately darkened as he raised his hand and sent a palm towards Mo Qingyun. However, at this moment, when Lu Pai and the others made their move, several terrifying auras comparable to Seventh Seal Great Symbol Masters rapidly approached the Divine Ascension ship. "They're here." Chapter 616. Not long after, dozens of figures arrived around the Talisman ship, and all of them emitted terrifying auras. The cultivations of these people had actually reached the advanced 6th seal level. The auras of a few of them had even reached the half-step 7th seal level. From this, one could see how strong they were. I never imagined that all of you would flee here in the blink of an eye. After these people arrived, they looked at Lu Pai's group with mocking gazes. One of them sneered, "From the looks of it, all of you seem to be snatching someone else's talisman ship. In that case, we really came at the wrong time." When he heard this person's words, Mo Qingyun revealed an interested expression. He turned around to look at Lu Pai and smiled faintly. "Elder Lu, it looks like it's impossible for all of you to deal with us." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Pai's expression instantly twitched and darkened as he said, "Kid, there's no need to be complacent. After these talisman bandits kill us, they'll make a move against all of you. At the very least, I can watch as all of you are killed by these talisman bandits first." When he heard Lu Pai's words, Mo Qingyun shrugged his shoulders and smiled. He didn't take Lu Pai's words to heart in the slightest. After replying to Lu Pai, Mo Qingyun looked toward the talisman bandits and smiled faintly. "Everyone, if all of you want to deal with Lu Pai's group, feel free to do so. There's no need to pay attention to us." "Kid," when he heard Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Pai immediately felt like vomiting blood. He glared furiously at Mo Qingyun, but was unable to speak. When the talisman bandits heard Mo Qingyun's words, all of them revealed stunned expressions and were slightly surprised by Mo Qingyun's words. "This kid is slightly interesting. He clearly knows that we're talisman bandits, yet he's actually not afraid of us in the slightest. Boss, I feel that this kid can be properly fostered. Let's deal with the Ghost Talisman sect first. This is the mission assigned by the higher-ups. The Talisman Bandits sized up Mo Qingyun before ignoring Mo Qingyun's group and looking coldly at Lu Pai's group. Lu Pai's expression twitched when he saw the Talisman Bandits looking at them, while panic rose in his heart. At this moment, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Mo Qingyun was using someone else to do his dirty work. Lu Pai's expression turned gloomy when he thought up to this point. He said to the Talisman Bandits, "Everyone, please don't let that brat sow discord between us and cause us to fight to the point where both of us are injured, allowing them to reap the benefits." When they heard Lu Pai's words, the expressions of these Talisman Bandits involuntarily changed as a pondering expression appeared on their faces. Lu Pai's words did make sense. If they fought with Lu Pai and the others and both sides suffered heavy losses, Mo Qingyun and the others would reap the benefits. That would not be good. Everyone, this son of a bitch Lu Pai is incomparably treacherous. Don't be fooled by him. While these Talisman Bandits were pondering, a faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face as he said, "Just think about it. With the strength of all of us, any one of you would be able to easily wipe us out. Do we even have the qualifications to play any tricks before all of you?" "Brat, your words are true." When they heard Mo Qingyun's words, these Talisman Bandits chuckled and expressed their agreement with Mo Qingyun's words. They smiled faintly and said, "Since all of you know your limits, we will let all of you live a little longer." In the opinion of these Talisman Bandits, only the Grand Elder had a cultivation at the mid-sixth seal stage amongst Mo Qingyun's group. The cultivation of the others were either at the initial sixth seal or the fifth seal. They were indeed unable to cause any waves in front of them. Hence, in their opinion, Mo Qingyun's group was nothing to worry about. When he heard these Talisman Bandits' words, the smile on Mo Qingyun's face immediately grew even wider as he said, "Everyone, before all of you arrived, Lu Pai said that he had already contacted the experts from his sect. All of you should quickly make a move and not allow his reinforcements to arrive." "Oh, there is such a thing." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the face of the leader of the Talisman Bandits darkened as he said to the group beside him, "Hall Masters, let's not just stand there. Immediately attack the members of the Ghost Talisman sect." Soon after, these Talisman Bandits emitted a murderous aura as they swiftly charged towards Lu Pai's group. However, these Talisman Bandits were also cautious and did not all attack Lu Pai's group. Instead, they left behind a sixth seal advanced stage individual to watch over Mo Qingyun's group and guard against any sudden movements from Mo Qingyun's group. With regards to this arrangement of the Talisman Bandits, Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to it. Instead, he smiled faintly as he watched them fight with Lu Pai's group. "Brat, I'll F***CK all the women in your family." When he saw that the Talisman Bandits were instigated by Mo Qingyun to attack them one by one, Lu Pai immediately began to curse at Mo Qingyun. Previously, when the Talisman Bandits had attacked them, they had still held back a little and were not as vicious as they were now. Now, these Talisman Bandits were clearly acting like this because of Mo Qingyun's words, causing the Talisman Bandits to worry that their reinforcements had arrived. This time, he had been tricked by Mo Qingyun. With regards to Lu Pai's insults, Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to them. Instead, he revealed a faint smile as he walked towards the Lu Shan duo. "The two of you said earlier that you would kill all of us when Lu Pai's group arrives?" When he arrived in front of the Lu Shan duo, Mo Qingyun sneered as he looked at the two of them. His tone was filled with ridicule as he said, "Now, it seems like you will be disappointed. Right now, they're like clay bodhisattvas crossing a river, unable to even protect themselves. Kid, you don't need to be so happy. Once we are killed, you won't be able to live for long either." When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the youth with a sharp face wore a venomous expression as he cursed at Mo Qingyun. "That is my business. There is no need for you to concern yourself with it." When he heard the youth with a sharp face's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned a little cold as he said, "However,
Since Lupai can't do anything to me, I will send you guys down first. After Mo Qingyun spoke, he lifted his hand and slapped the youth with a sharp face, directly blasting the youth's head off. Kid, you dare! When they saw Mo Qingyun's actions, the faces of Lu Pai and the rest immediately darkened as they loudly shouted at Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun only revealed a somewhat disdainful smile in response to their berating as he replied, Lu Pai, you guys should take care of yourselves. Bang! After Mo Qingyun spoke, his palms solidly slammed onto the youth with a sharp face's head. You! After receiving Mo Qingyun's palm, the youth with a sharp face widened his eyes. He was unable to believe that Mo Qingyun had really killed him. When they saw Mo Qingyun's decisive action, everyone was stunned. They were somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's coldness. I like this kid's character. He is ruthless enough and is very suitable for our line of work. Boss, this kid is ruthless enough. I feel that he is very suitable to be groomed. His character is not bad. However, I wonder how his talent is. If his talent is up to standard, we can focus on grooming him. When they saw Mo Qingyun's actions, the Talisman Bandits immediately praised Mo Qingyun and would definitely rope Mo Qingyun into their group. When he heard the words of the Talisman Bandits, Lu Pai immediately felt like vomiting blood. They were all lambs waiting to be slaughtered by the Talisman Bandits. Yet these Talisman Bandits actually admired Mo Qingyun and wanted to properly groom him. This result was truly unacceptable to him. When he saw the actions of the Ghost Talisman sect, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he waved his hand again and summoned even more eye devils. Not long after, an even more terrifying demonic might erupted beside the Supreme Elder and the others, forming an even larger demonic shadow. HSS. When they saw this scene, the Ghost Talisman sect members immediately sucked in a breath of cold air as their faces turned pale. To think that Mo Qingyun had so many terrifying demonic beasts by his side. Nearly 10,000 demonic beasts comparable to 6 seal high-tier demonic beasts. What kind of battle power was this? At this moment, the Ghost Talisman sect members had already lost the ability to think. If it was an ordinary 6 seal high-tier symbol master, they might still have a chance. However, the Eye Devil's attack was too abnormal. The attack speed of the Eye Ray was fast, and the distance was far. It directly cut off their chance of escape. Kill. After summoning another batch of Eye Devils, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he ordered the Eye Devils. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. An even more terrifying ray of eye power instantly shot towards the Ghost Talisman sect's group, enveloping them in it. Soon, the eye power beam dissipated and the Ghost Talisman sect members reappeared before everyone's eyes. However, their bodies were no different from corks now. Numerous wounds had appeared on their bodies. More than 10 6 seal, mid-tier symbol masters had been killed in the blink of an eye. No. Lu Pai let out a heart-wrenching cry when he saw more than 10 6 seal, mid-tier symbol masters of the Ghost Talisman sect killed by the eye power of the Eye Devil. These people were the backbone of the Ghost Talisman sect. Now that they had all died here, how could he not feel heartache? Just as Lu Pai let out a roar, go. When the symbol bandit leader saw that the situation was not right, he did not dare to stay any longer and coldly instructed the people around him. Immediately after, he no longer hesitated and immediately turned around to escape. Although it would be very difficult for them to escape from the current situation, if they did not escape, only death would await them. Therefore, they had to risk it all. Trying to escape? When he saw the symbol bandit leader's intention, a playful smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face as he coldly said, "Today, none of you will die. Mo, son, attack immediately. Don't let a single one of them escape." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he ordered the Eye Devils to continue shooting at the Talisman Bandits. Swish, swish, swish. When they heard Mo Qingyun's order, the Eye Devils immediately shot at the Symbol Bandits, shooting out rays of eye power. Poochie Poochie. Faced with the Eye Devil's attack, the Symbol Bandits were like sitting ducks. One by one, they were hit by the powerful attacks and fell from the sky. Chapter 619. Kid, you better not kill me. Otherwise, you will definitely bring endless trouble to yourself. When he saw Mo Qingyun walk towards him, a solemn expression appeared on the bandit leader's face as he fearfully looked at Mo Qingyun. Ah, is that so? In response to the bandit leader's words, Mo Qingyun disdainfully chuckled. His expression turned cold as he said, I, Mo Qingyun, do not like to cause trouble. However, since you have provoked me, there is no way I will let you off so easily. I demons, shoot him to death. After replying to the bandit leader, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold as he ordered the eye demons beside him. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. When she heard Mo Qingyun's order, eye demons immediately released their eye force rays and shot at the bandit leader. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After being shot by eye demons' eye force rays, the bandit leader's body was instantly pierced as hideous wounds appeared on his body. Kid, just you wait, you will be hunted down. After being shot by Demon's Eye Force Rays, the bandit leader revealed a venomous expression as he said these sinister words to Mo Qingyun. In response to the bandit leader's words, Mo Qingyun directly chose to ignore him as he slowly walked towards the corpses of the Ghost Talisman sect and the Talisman bandits. Next, Mo Qingyun began to clean up the battlefield and collect everyone's Chinquan bags and corpses. About a quarter of an hour later, Mo Qingyun stopped what he was doing and turned around to walk towards the Grand Elder and the others. Grand Elder, let's go. When he arrived in front of the Grand Elder and the rest, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at the Grand Elder and indicated for him to drive the soul travel symbol ship forward. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the Grand Elder revealed a somewhat troubled expression as he said in a low voice, Qingyun, the soul travel symbol ship was damaged during the battle just now. I'm afraid it will no longer be able to continue flying. The soul travel symbol ship was damaged? When he heard the Grand Elder's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly as his eyebrows involuntarily furrowed together. Without the spirit travel talisman ship, their speed would be greatly reduced, which was a bit troublesome. After pondering for a short period of time, Mo Qingyun's eyes suddenly lit up as a thought flashed within his mind, and he said with a light smile, Right, these talisman bandits have intercepted and killed all the sects that are participating in the Myriad Talisman Immortal Meeting. I presume their gains are extremely bountiful. I wonder if they have soul travel talisman ships? As soon as this thought appeared in his mind, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate any longer and immediately withdrew the Cosmos pouch from the bandit leader and opened it. Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised when he opened the Cosmos sack of the bandit leader. When he heard this person's words, Mo Qingyun's eyebrows furrowed, somewhat surprised by the other party's words. However, after a brief moment of confusion, Mo Qingyun understood that Liang Heng and the rest were likely referring to the Talisman Bandits. This meant that the actions of the Talisman Bandits leader and the rest had indeed received the support of the Eight Seal sect, the Shadow Talisman sect. When he saw that Mo Qingyun was silent, the young man's expression darkened as he faintly guessed a possibility. He coldly said, Kid, you are really bold to actually dare to kill Liang Heng and the rest. When he heard the other party's words, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and replied, You are also quite bold to actually collude with the Talisman Bandits to kill the various sects participating in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering. Humph! This is a world where the strong preys on the weak. Their purpose of existence is to become our prey. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words, the young man disdainfully replied. With a cold and arrogant expression on his face, he said, Kid, you are also here to participate in the 10,000 Talisman Immortal Gathering, right? Very good. I will remember your faces. When you come to Myriad World Mountain, I will personally take care of you. Crack! At this moment, without waiting for the young man to finish speaking, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and directly crushed the dark shadow messaging talisman. This is bad. When he saw the scene before him, the great Supreme Elder immediately revealed a worried expression. His expression tensed up as he said, "Although the Shadow Talisman sect is in the weakest position among the 5 absolute sects, it is still not a sect that we can afford to offend. Great Supreme Elder, don't worry. When the time comes, there will be a way. As long as I enter the 9 Seals sect, there will be nothing to worry about." When he saw the great Supreme Elder's expression, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and comforted the great Supreme Elder. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, since he had already offended the Sword Talisman sect, there was no harm in offending the Shadow Talisman sect. At most, he would have one more enemy. After comforting the great Supreme Elder, Mo Qingyun rummaged through the Chinquan bag of the Talisman Bandit leader and chose the figure of the Travel Talisman ship. After a while, a bright smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face. He had really found the Travel Talisman ship. Great Supreme Elder, please activate the Talisman ship. Let's continue our journey. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.